How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And this segment, which we call Map My X, which has been a segment we've done for a few years, and we took a little bit of a break, but I think we got the whole band together. I want to say we got the whole band together again, but Riley's not here yet, but he is coming. But before I go any further and I start talking about Map My X, I do want my panelists to introduce themselves in case this is your first time watching the show and you don't know who these wonderful people are. So to my right, who are you?
Hi, I'm Oddfell. I'm a cosplayer, and I occasionally come on this channel to talk about comic books, and we always have a super good time.
Excellent. And Eric and Omar, how are you all doing? Thank you, everybody in the chat, for being here. And below us is none other than Crushing Crisis. Look at that face. He's ready to argue. Who are you, buddy?
I'm Crisis with a K. I write about comic books way too much on crushingcrisis.com, and I only tend to show my face here on Near Mint Condition, occasionally at Omnidol's Vault, because I'm contractually obligated to have fun with Jess. So I'm so happy to be lured back into the X-Men arena here to talk some Wolverine. And actually, it's kind of spoilers. We're doing this show because of Riley, because Riley is heated about Wolverine mapping.
I don't get it. I was like, of all the different eras we could talk about with my favorite character, we have chosen this era, which is not my favorite, but that's okay. We're here to map it regardless, because I'm sure the people at Marvel Comics and DC, when they're mapping books, some of those editors are like, why does anybody want this stuff collected? Who asked for this? So that is what we do here. In case you're new to this particular segment, we put our thinking caps on and we pretend we work for Marvel Comics, and we were given the task of mapping a particular omnibus. We've done it with X Factor, and let me just say, those X Factor and Wolverine mappings and New Mutant mappings, man, we are good. We're so good. We, except for the Charleston Chew issue in Wolverine, but that wasn't that it could have been there if it wasn't for a licensing thing.
There was some early Twitter chatter about this show to say, please don't forget the Charleston Chew issue. And I said, yeah, unfortunately, this issue is out of our hands. There's no way to get it in. We made our best recommendation already.
So that's what we do. We map out omnis, maybe one, maybe two, maybe three, depending on how big these are. And we look at the page count, and it's a lot of fun. We try to guesstimate exactly what should be in each and every one of these particular books. But there is a lot of not agreeing. I will say sometimes, if a book is too big or if it should be split up into two. I think one of our most infamous episodes was the Uncanny X-Men Volume 5, which ironically enough, we ended up getting both of our omnis. I was like, it's too big. They're going to make it into which happened. And then Riley was like, no, it's big. It'll be great, which we're getting in the Prelude to the Massacre. So in a way, we both kind of won that battle, but everybody lost because now we have options. Woo, do we have options these days? So that's what this is. That's what this segment is about. And then, of course, the chat is more than welcome to chime in and talk about this particular era, what we're missing, what should be added, and how dare we forget about something in Ken's life. So yeah, William, how are you, buddy? Omnibub, right? This is more like Map My Weapon X episode. So, Peter, how familiar are you with this era of Wolverine? Is this like, oh man, I can't wait for this omnibus? Because we are talking about the 2003 era, which is when Wolverine got a relaunch. So I think in the books, and please correct me if I'm wrong, this is known as Wolverine Volume 3. Because Volume 1 is considered a miniseries. Volume 2 is the ongoing series that started with Claremont, went into Archie Goodwin and Byrne, and then, of course, Larry Hama, and then eventually ended. And then it led into this, right? I don't think there was another Wolverine series in between there.
No, not at all. And so Riley, unfortunately, is not here yet. So that means I get to set the terms of this particular debate. This all stemmed from trying to figure out, how do you collect Wolverine right before Aaron? because the Aaron Omnibus starts with kind of picking some random Aaron arcs. It has like the Get Mystique arc from the 60s of this Wolverine 2003 volume, and then it has all of Weapon X, so that's all been collected to 2008 or 9 Weapon X series, and then of course it starts collecting comprehensively Aaron's Wolverine starting in 2010. But there's a whole series before that, the Wolverine 2003 series. Some of it is an omnibus already. Mark Miller's material has been collected, both Enemy of the State and Old Man Wolverine, into a single omnibus. But there's Greg Rucka material before that, and then there's a ton of other material by several different writers between those two Miller runs. Then, additionally, there is Wolverine Origins, which I love. I may be the only person on the internet who loves it. That started in 2006, coming out of House of M. That's its own 50-issue series. But wait, we're not done, because there are also well over 60 issues of Wolverine miniseries and one-shots between 2002 and the beginning of Marvel now. Actually, well over 100. So the question is not just map my Wolverine omnibus. It's what are the omnibuses? What should they include? Because there's no one or even two volumes that could coherently collect even the 2003 series alone. So that was the gauntlet that Riley threw down. He threw it down just as we were in the throes of DC mapping. And we said, that's not a DC character, Riley. But now that that's all through, we thought we would come back to Marvel and argue over Wolverine. Omar, is there anything I'm missing there?
No, you got it all. The only thing I'm going to say is if you are watching this later, you will notice a date in the title of the episode. I didn't have the date now because I went from 2003 to something, because I don't know when we're going to end this, because this era really ends in 2009, but there's
or
just
doesn't.
Right, and that's the thing, right? It really doesn't, and it kind of leads into something else. So give me a video and like, even though Wolverine sucks. Thank you, Warren. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Fun fact, Daniel Way is the best Wolverine writer. And thank you, Roy Thomas, for creating Wolverine. Ryan, you can go to hell. I hate you so much. You might be the only person on the planet who loves Origins. I think there is definitely a lot of people that like Origins. So much so that, I mean, remember, it came out in trades, in complete collections. Not everything Wolverine related got that. Is Ryan banned for that? That's strike two. That's strike two. Here, so I can pretend to know what I'm talking about with these omnis. Hopefully release. I mean, it's almost a sure bet. There are 2 more Wolverine omnis I haven't announced yet. By the way,
what is this spoiler? What?
Yeah, spoilers. Yeah, 2 more Wolverine omnis on the docket that I have not announced yet. So you can start get those gears turning. And that's the only hint, by the way. Nobody asked me, what era? Is it a volume? What are we at? 6? Or is it a volume 0? No, there can't be a volume 0. Is it a reprint of volume 1? You can start to guess. But we are here to map this particular era, which I find so difficult because we know how Marvel does things and we know how DC does things. And I don't think we can avoid double dipping unless we really, really look into it and put on our thinking caps, kind of like what Marvel did with the John Byrne and Joe Casey Incredible Hulk. I think that is a perfect addition to the Hulk omnis that is not for everybody, but definitely a gap filler, which this era would be. Although Greg Rucka is such a staple, like I would not consider this era a gap filler. I definitely recommend this as one of the high points in Wolverines. We're not mapping Krakoa. That would take 5 days to do.
God, there's so much.
Maybe that should be some sort of like special charity stream where we see how long we can stream and how much of Krakoa we can map.
A marathon stream.
Yeah,
does the charity go to Omar's pockets for lack of sleep? Oh my gosh, that's not a bad idea, honestly, because we are talking about what did I looked at things last time. I think it's like 550 something issues.
I think it might be even more, but that's at least
that was just a guesstimate, honestly.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So this is definitely for people like Mr. Tex right here, who just got his copy of Byrne Casey Hulk Omni. I get it. That's not for everybody. And I'm sure even when I announced it, people were like, what is this nonsense? Why waste your time with this? Because there's a lot of us that love filling in those gaps.
Well, and I think the thing that Marvel is like getting better at doing is figuring out how to put the gap stuff in with stuff that people want really badly.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's because before they would kind of put out these gap filler omnibuses and then they wouldn't sell and then people would go on discount or whatever. Now I feel like they're starting to get the feel of it, like putting that Pad Volume 4 out that had some trailing Pad, but then had a bunch of Peter David other stuff. Putting out that Byrne and Casey omnibus, knowing the Byrne stuff was too short and the Casey's not a huge enough seller on his own, maybe for an omnibus. I feel like I look at the Marvel releases right now. I'm like, oh, they totally get it. Here's our chance. And that really is my guiding principle now when I map, compared to in the past when I'd be like, throw some stuff in, cram it in there, get the crap in the sack. Now it's like, okay, what is the tentpole run in this book that's going to make people want to buy it? And then how much other stuff can you get in there?
Yeah.
And that's my philosophy anyway. Then nobody has to agree with me.
I think that is what's happening, though. I mean, if you look at their records of what they've been doing lately, it feels like, I mean, even with the announcement of the Road to Onslaught Omnibus came, they knew that people that have been getting the oversized hardcovers, that have been getting the Omnis, were missing that particular book. And people are ready for that era. I think, like, you know, even like 5 years ago, would they ever release something called Road to Onslaught Omnibus? Probably not. But now things are so different. They know that people are craving these things. They know they want to fill in those gaps. And they're not going to wait for Uncanny X-Men Omnibus 25 to get here. I don't know why I just held up 10 fingers because I don't have 25. To fill in those gaps. They want them now. And they'll deal with Uncanny X-Men Omnibus 25 when it gets here. So there is a lot of that going on. And I think that's where my mentality is with this mapping. I don't know where Riley's mentality is right now, nor do I know where he is. So we can't really start yet because I kind of wanted him to kick it off because he himself had some thoughts about your mapping of things.
Well, let's talk about Oddfell's relationship with Wolverine, the best there is. Oddfell, are you? I know you to be like an X-23 fan. Do you care about Papa Logan?
Not particularly. So I have not read a lot of the series. It was a lot of me researching and reading issues here and there to be like, okay, I'm going to read this one and then I'm going to read the one that's 10 from now and see like how important these feel to slot in places. Because I don't read a lot of Logan Wolverine. He's not one of my favorite X-Men. So it was very interesting for me coming at this because unlike other ones where I'm like very familiar with the source material, this one I was kind of coming at it more neutral or unknowing, like, well, this would make sense, but I don't know if people are attached to this one. Like, it's a very different approach than I usually have for these.
Opposed to Scarlet Witch, where you have it memorized, you've read it all.
She was ready for the modern Scarlet Witch Omni too, by the way.
Yeah, Ogo was like, let's keep going, you losers. Why are we stopping?
That should have been our marathon one. Just 8 hours of Scarlet Witch.
You can show all the current Wolverine Omnis in your collection while we wait. Damn it, Riley. Make me bust out my camera here. Okay, so here we go. Wolverine 1, which has not been reprinted yet. So that's why the lettering and the logo looks different. So you have Wolverine 2, 3, 4, 5. That is in actual reading order right there. Right. It makes sense. I do think that Omnibus Volume 1, the mapping is so strange compared to the way they would map things now. Because it starts off with Weapon X. Can you imagine what it would be like if they reprinted it and then they said, by the way, we're remapping everything, but we're adding in the letter pages? People would lose their mind. They would come at me with the stakes and the forks and all that, man. Like it's my fault. Like it was my idea. And I'm not giving them any idea. I'm just saying, what if they did that? And then that's followed. Believe it or not, there's a huge gap of no Omnis. So we have a lot, including this era that happens, well, before and after the Mark Miller run. I'm keeping Wolverine Sabretooth by Jeff Loeb there because I'm a glutton for punishment. It's a horrible story.
I might come up today.
No, I know. Then we have Jason Aaron 1 Goes to Hell. Now it's weird that they're reprinting Jason Aaron Volume 1 and still calling it Volume 1 because it's so confusing if they get to reprint Wolverine Goes to Hell, are they still going to call it that or call it Volume 2 or do the same thing they did with the Ed Brubaker run and add a number in the back of Captain America Ed Brubaker printings? And after that, of course, it wraps up with the Wolverine X-Men by Jason Aaron. I keep my Return of Weapon X there. There's the Hunt for Wolverine and Wolverine Origin 2. And spoilers, Death of Wolverine oversized hardcover. But we're getting an omnibus of that. So really, compared to a lot of X-Men, Wolverine doesn't have that many omnis. We've got a total of 8 so far. Now, of course, we're getting the Death of Wolverine omnibus coming out, right? We are getting that. And like I mentioned, 2 more. One could be a reprint. One could be new. So hope you're in for some surprises. Haven't announced those yet. And then, of course, the ones we're mapping. But really, man, it's crazy for a character that they didn't think with reprinting Volume 1 that it would sell. That we've got 5 of those suckers now. But we still got a while to go. Is the Jason Aaron run good?
The way Omar feels about Origins is how I feel about the Jason Aaron run. So I'll let Omar take this one.
I will say that I think the best thing to come out of Jason Aaron's run, for me personally, is Wolverine and the X-Men. I love Wolverine as this father figure. I love him running an actual school called the Jean Grey School. I'm not going to spoil why it's called that, but you can probably guess. I really like that part. I love the new kids. I love the addition of like little characters like the little Brood guy. What's his name? Brew. I thought that was really cool. And that's the kind of Wolverine story that I think Jason Aaron was meant to write. I'm not the biggest fan of his run. I'm not the biggest fan of Get Mystique. I'm not the biggest fan of that entire Jason Aaron era. I just thought it was okay. It's not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's not No-Nose Wolverine or Daniel Way Wolverine. But it's also not great or that memorable. But that's just my opinion. Peter, what did you made a weird comparison there? What was your comparison of Aaron's Wolverine? What is it?
So I strongly dislike Aaron's Wolverine. Aaron, for me, I just don't connect with him on this like chemical level. I don't really understand what he thinks to be fun for a lot of characters. Sometimes I do. So like, I love that recent Aaron Punisher run. To me, that was like peak, the in continuity Punisher in the hand thing. I thought that was the coolest Punisher I ever read. Omar remembers me hyping him up like issue by issue, how much I thought Omar was going to love it. But I just never really was excited about Aaron's take on Wolverine. Like, Wolverine did need to go back to kind of being like bloody and proactive. I think we had kind of lost that a little bit. But then I didn't really get his killing spoilers, his father figure stuff. And then I don't really think Funny Aaron is very good. I think Funny Aaron is kind of flat for me. So like, it was just like 5 years of what is happening for me. Whereas Origins, I've told the story probably 5 times on this channel already. I was catching up on X-Men. It was 2010, and I was trying to like catch up on all the trades that have come out. I was not on the internet seeing anybody else's reactions. All I knew was what I thought. I read the first trade of Origins. I was like, this is so cool. It's like finally learning about Wolverine's past. And then the second trade, and I was getting them Amazon Primed to my house a day at a time because I was reading them so fast and I was so excited to read more. I was like, yes, like the sickos guy in the window, that was me reading Origins, like, yes, give me more. And I assumed everybody loved it. I was like, this is finally, we have a really cool, silly, campy origin story for Wolverine. Then I discovered the comic book internet. And they 99% of them do not agree with me. But people say like, oh, Crisis, you say these things to be contrary. I swear to the good Lord in heaven, no matter what canon you put that Lord in the Marvel, it could be the in-betweener. I don't know. But
somebody
I was just alone in my room thinking these are great comics. I had no idea.
What's really interesting is that there are certain runs that I enjoyed. And I didn't find out that other people hated them. I just thought they were just loved across the board until I met the internet, right? And I made the mistake of going into, you remember AOL channels and then eventually forums and things like that. And I was like, I remember seeing that with Ann Nesenti's Daredevil. Because I thought Ann Nesenti's Daredevil was beloved by everybody.
Universally beloved.
Yeah, I was so wrong. People were like, oh my God, she destroyed that character. I haven't read Daredevil since then. It took Brian Michael Bendis to bring me back to Daredevil. Damn. I didn't know. So yeah, it is interesting to see what some people love and what some people hate. But just, I will say, just when I think I know Peter, he just throws me for a loop, man. Like, what the hell is he talking about? Daniel Way's Wolverine?
I love it. I mean, I haven't reread it now for a decade, so maybe I'd reread it now, and I would be totally unimpressed.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna hit Riley up to see if he's almost done with his shower, so we can get started on this.
Because as we know, Riley has the most prep time out of all four of us.
Yeah. He loves this era.
I'm Joe. We love Riley, and probably would not have done this had Riley not egged us on. So look, I think we can probably start arguing about the first one a little bit, right?
Oh yeah, I mean it's an easy one, right? If we're talking about the 2003, wait,
easy, really? Tell me about it, Omar. Tell me how easy it is. So easy.
Okay. Like the first 19 issues, at least.
So you're going to do a 19-issue omnibus?
No, I'm not going to do a 19-issue omnibus. We got to include Hulk and Elektra. Daredevil. God damn it, Peter, you're already messing me up, and I haven't even started drinking. Wolverine and Elektra in there. I'm not a monster.
Redeemer, huh?
Yeah, we got to put that in there. So Marvel decided to make Wolverine in 2003 a Marvel Knights title. Which, if you're familiar with that, that's like where Daredevil got relaunched. That's where Punisher got relaunched. And it kind of became like the edgier side of the Marvel universe. It wasn't quite Max. Like, they weren't cursing. They weren't, dropping F-bombs. And people weren't getting mutilated or guts were being ripped out. That was the Max line. But it was like a little more edgier on the edge. It was a different era of Marvel trying out new things. So that's how they kicked it off with that era of Wolverine. But before that, we have all these little miniseries that need to be collected in there. And man, do I feel like a completist because Peter, I think that is the only Wolverine issues I would put in this omnibus as far as like ongoing issues. And the rest of this omnibus would be like that miniseries that I talked about. The Wolverine and Elektra, and then I wrote some things down. Thank you very much. There are some things that predate that though. There is the Wolverine Hulk miniseries from 2002. I
would agree with that. Yeah.
There was this was during the time when Wolverine was just firing on all cylinders. It was hot off of the movies, and there were talks about solo movies. So it was like Wolverine and blank. Pretty much Wolverine fill in the freaking blank is the way that it felt. And I think there were two Wolverine and Hulk miniseries, weren't there? Because one was Hulk Wolverine and the other one was Wolverine Hulk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, both of those, Wolverine and Elektra. That's a 4-issue miniseries by the legendary Yoshitaka Amano. And if you don't know who that is, go play Final Fantasy 1 through 6. But everybody will say 7. But 7 is like my Wolverine origins.
Wow.
I said what I said.
That can get you canceled.
Dude, I looked it up.
We gotta pause. How could you possibly say that?
About Final Fantasy?
Yes.
I'm not a fan of Final Fantasy 7. I was watching my wife playing the Rebirth one. She's in there crying, and I'm like, who are these people? What is this nonsense? All them dudes look too pretty, man. They need a rugged guy.
For saying I didn't like Wolverine.
It's exact. You brought that on yourself, Bell. I came ready. I wrote some notes down.
I mean, I will say I do. Final Fantasy 6 is or 4. 4 and 6 are probably my favorites, but I love 7. I've just never heard anybody not like it before.
Most people with
strange outlier.
Most people with bad takes on comics usually like 7, and that's okay. It's okay to like different things, Peter. 7 is the Wolverine of the Final Fantasies. That's the base answer, if you will.
There's like
maybe 7 is the Dakin of the Final Fantasies, maybe. Another favorite of mine.
Okay, so where I said Wolverine and Hulk Wolverine. There was also the Captain America Wolverine miniseries in here. And that's around that time when Marvel Knights was launching and they did that miniseries. I'm trying to think if this is where I would add Logan at the very beginning, which was a miniseries by Brian K. Vaughan.
2008, though.
I know, but because of the way they map Wolverine, because it's a Marvel Knights book, So I thought, well, maybe it should be like a Marvel Knights Wolverine omnibus. So I'm still on the fence about that one because it's only 3 issues, and if you haven't read it, I actually really like that book. Was there anything else? I thought about that Wolverine and Dupe, but that's already been collected in the Ecstatics omnibus. Not that Marvel's opposed to double dipping it, right?
So how much of volume 2 would you put in before volume 3? Because I was debating starting it at 181, or are you going before that?
Oh, so Ophel's like, why don't we start at the end of the 1988 series?
Because, like, yeah, it came out the end of 2002, but there's only a handful of issues before it switches over. And it looks like, at least in the art style, it looks like there's a clear switch around 181 from what was the previous run to this, like, kind of mini capsule before it goes into volume 3. So mostly looking at when they bring on Rebek, but
yeah, I mean, she's got a good point. Like, there's a very specific feel change in that last run of 1988 issues that actually feels much more of a piece with Greg Rucka than it does with the original Wolverine series, because it's like almost, does it already have a mature readers label at that point?
It had a mature readers label, and let me double check the writer because it was someone I wasn't familiar with. Frank Thierry is the writer for issue 181 to 189.
That leads into it's a little of the Weapon X omnibus, right? Not that I'm opposed to adding it there, because that era of Wolverine gets wrapped up. I want to say, so it went from 181. I love that you added 181 in there. That's a very nice addition. It's not quite Marvel Knights, but you are right about something. It's around that era that they dropped the code, right? Like the comics code. So it was kind of like free reign, like, hey, no more comics code. And they've been doing that for a little bit. And the series ends in 189. And that's what's that? The good cop, bad cop thing. That is the Daniel Way run.
Because then it goes right into volume 3. Like, that's like, but I noticed when I was looking through that there is a tone shift around there. So I didn't know if you guys are going to start right at volume 3, if you were going to go a little bit back. Because I could see it going either way.
I mean, I don't disagree. Because I think of it about this way. I know we're not here to map all the rest of the 1988 series, because it's kind of just going to map how the Epic collections map. But like, is that final bit of Frank Thierry Wolverine going to Tiger Eyes? I'm going to get you for that.
He speaks the truth.
Is that final like 7 or 8 issues of the 1988 series going to feel satisfying to read in that omnibus line, or is it actually going to feel more of a piece with the Marvel Knights stuff? Like, I'm kind of talking myself into it. I don't know.
Well, it doesn't really add anything to the story by Greg Rucka, right? It's doing its own thing, and it's Frank Thierry and then eventually Daniel Way writing kind of like one-off issues, like, hey, we need to get an issue out there. Go ahead and write it. So it felt more like Frank Thierry working on Wolverine to kind of set up some things that were going to happen in the Weapon X book. And that has been collected in omnibus format. And if you haven't read, I actually like, as somebody said they didn't like Frank Thierry, I actually dug that era. I thought that was cool. It was a very interesting era. My brother was getting into comics, and he was like, oh my gosh, have you read Weapon X? And I'm like, of course I've read Weapon X. What are you talking about? I didn't know he was talking about the Weapon X series. Now, the Weapon X omnibus does collect some of Wolverine, but it doesn't collect 181 to 189. That is still missing from being collected in omnibus format. Could I finish out Wolverine volume? What would it be? 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my gosh, we got a while to go. We're only at what? 101 was the last one. We got 80 more issues plus all the miniseries. So what are we thinking? 3 more omnis, Peter, of Wolverine? 6, 7, 8.
I was saying they're usually like 2.5 epics each. So what's the latest epic we have from Wolverine? I'm trying to see if I can.
We had the Steve Skroce one. Then we had the Rob Liefeld one with Deadpool.
Yeah, I think the epics are going to get up to like 16. I don't know. I didn't come prepared to map that. That could be another map.
Right. That's bait. I am not biting. Well, I'm okay. Let's say 3 more Omnis, right? I'm okay with waiting until volume 8 to get that Frank Terry Daniel Way nonsense anyway. Because I would really like to start this one with a clean slate of, hey, we're making it a Marvel Knights book, right? And you can actually call it Wolverine Marvel Knights by adding all those miniseries. That's why I went ahead and added the Logan miniseries. The only thing that sucks, but we've seen it happen, there's only 19 issues of the ongoing series. Now, this does map directly, like it lines up directly to the Mark Miller era. Like that omnibus comes next with issue number 20, right? That's when Mark Miller said, I'm Mark Miller, I'm taking Wolverine, and I'm taking Chris Claremont's plot, and I'm making it my own. So that's the one good thing this has going for it, too.
Well, let me go back for a couple talks here. So right now we're up to Wolverine Epic Collection 14, The Return of Weapon X, and that goes through issue 172. They've been doing anywhere from 10 to 16 Wolverine issues per epic, depending on how much side stuff there is. So there could be just an epic 15 that would collect 173 to 189. That could happen. Or if there's enough side stuff they want to cram in there, it could be 15 and 16, right? But the point is, that means we have to collect basically epics 9 through 16 in Omnibus, because epic 9 starts at 101. So that means, what is that? That's 6, 7, 8 epics in Omnibus. So to finish that line, we probably need 3 more omnibuses. I don't think there's no way they would do 4 epics per omnibus. We could even maybe need 4 omnibuses, honestly, but at least 3. So I think that's the answer to that. Well, hello, Riley. Let's hear from Riley, and then I want to go back to hear what else Odeful wants to put in this first volume.
Okay. What's up, Riley? Who are you?
I'm so sorry. Back. I thought we were going live at 6 my time. And I couldn't
never fell.
I had to do some work stuff after 5, and then I had to take care of dogs. So I came over like right after getting dressed, and I'm like, oh crap, they've already been going. But hello. I'm assuming what Peter's just talking about is the current line collecting Wolverine Volume 2, the first ongoing series.
Yes.
Okay.
Odefell coming in hot said that the first of these Wolverine omnibuses should actually start with the final Frank Terry run of Wolverine Volume 2. But before we go there, Riley, you were the one who was like, to me, my X-Men, to me, my X-Maps, we've got to do this show. So we kind of explained why, but now that you're here, why don't you tell everybody, why are you so hot to be right about Wolverine? What is compelling you?
So Secret Origins, I guess, of why I was the one that came in and said, we need to do this. We need to get back in the chairs. I was looking at Peter's suggested like things for the vote of like the most wanted Marvel Omnis and stuff, because there were so many. And I saw you like day after day on Twitter, like exhausted, posting like, I just did another like million potential omnibus that people can vote on. And so I went through and I was looking at stuff, and I think there might have been a Wolverine release or announcement that kind of pinged me, and then I was like, oh, you know who has some stuff is Peter. And I went and looked at your page, and I was looking at all the suggested ones, and I was like, he must have been really rushed making these, because these are not to his usual caliber. And then I just sat there and started like weaving.
That hurt me, Peter.
I started weaving things together and was like, yeah, I can't just have this sitting here for no one to hear about. Like, we need to get back in the saddle. Let's do it. And I need to either Peter's going to come back with it and like completely slap me out of the stratosphere, like with something that I was not expecting, or I'm actually going to have something that is worthwhile. And that's what I'm excited to see.
So the origin of this segment right now, the one you're watching currently, is Riley just wanting to prove how wrong Peter is. I like that. I love that origin.
Yeah, that's the right energy to bring into one of these shows.
That's all it took. That's all it took was for Peter to start mapping things when he was having a bad day, or he was just mapping a bunch of DC stuff. So yeah, we are right now in the middle of mapping out Wolverine, and I'll be showing the slides whenever Peter's ready. But I went with the idea of like, okay, we could make a it wasn't originally there, but you know me, I don't come really prepared for these, but I did write a couple notes. We could do a Wolverine Marvel Knights omnibus. It could be a standalone thing, and it leads directly into the Wolverine by Mark Miller omnibus.
See, that's where. So one of the things that, going back to Peter's proto maps that he had, I saw him state, how do you handle this with Rucka and Mark Miller? It's like, do you do just Rucka and then it's kind of a small map, or do you do Rucka and Miller and combine stuff that's already been omnibized? And what do you even call it? Like, we want a good name to it. And I actually, what I came up with was also Wolverine Marvel Knights Omnibus. Except for my version of that, I have it go all the way through Enemy of the State and also collect.
Which was labeled Marvel Knights.
Exactly, because it didn't start being Knights until like 12 or 13 or something. Mostly already into Rucka's run. But what that opens up the door for is also collecting a lot of Wolverine miniseries that were part of the Marvel Knights line.
When did you end it then? Was it like after his first run, like long before Old Man Logan, because he came back after Loeb and the whole Mystique thing? So you were talking about ending the first omnibus with issue number 32, right? Even though that's not Enemy of the State, that's that standalone issue. Okay, so if we have 32 issues, that gives us a little more wiggle room. Okay, I might be. So you're saying get rid of that omnibus, becomes obsolete. Do you work for Marvel Comics? Because that definitely is a move they would do and piss off a lot of people.
That's exactly what
would buy it.
When I first came and said we need to do this, and I said this is going to be more interesting than previous Map My X's that we've done, because Marvel's treating the omnibus line really differently now than they used to be.
Absolutely, they are.
They're treating them a lot more similarly to Epic collections in wanting to put everything of these characters together in one place, rather than doing a lot of we don't see as many creator-centric omnibus anymore. It's mostly character volume 1, character volume 2, or like character with subtitle. So I think that Mark Miller omnibus is obsolete, and it's fairly obvious where the latter chunk of material would wind up going.
Huh. Okay, Peter. I'm kind of Team Riley right now, but then again, that was Team Omar, so I'm always Team Omar.
Well, now let's go back to Oddfell. So now we have the sense of what the base of Riley's book is. Oddfell, what else would you put in this volume 1 book?
So that's what I'm trying to figure out, right? Because like I had up to volume 35 considering in that first one, but that jumps right into the tie-ins, right? So after issue 35 is that starts the House of M, and then there's 3 House of M tie-ins that if you're going to go all the way to 35, I would include, which are Black Panther 7, Captain America 10, and Pulse 10. And then you have to decide, are you putting the Wolverine Civil War tie-ins in as well, which is Wolverine 42 through 48, X-Men Unlimited 12, and Giant Size Wolverine number 1. But I wouldn't want to put much more in that, because then you're going to start getting a really thick book.
Dude, are you saying putting all that in an omnibus?
That's why I feel like it's a lot. It's too much.
Oh, you just melted my heart. Man.
Starting backwards.
The thicker, the better. Oh my gosh, you're talking about going into. Wow, that's a lot of books. I like that. You hear that, Peter?
I don't know where I would split it, but I feel like that's starting to be over 1,000 at that point. But
you are way over 1,000 at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're okay.
To start the second one with House of M feels weird, though.
You're right, but I love.
Okay, there's a reason why though, and I think Peter's gonna know exactly where I'm going. But the Dan Way stuff, House of M, and his crossover, or the House of M crossover, and then his arc Origins and Endings leads right into Origins. Not only that, but House of M kind of builds off of the fact that like we had just recently gotten Origin, and we as the audience started to know Logan's past, but now the comics are also revealing parts of his past to him that neither us nor him had seen. So I didn't want to like directly jump into this, but since we're already talking about those issues, Wolverine Origins Omnibus, but start it with Origin.
Like Origin.
The classic Origin?
The 2002 miniseries.
Paul Jenkins and
Yes.
Andy Kubert. Okay. Okay, why?
Because it's relevant. Because the Origin miniseries is relevant to the Origins ongoing series.
How so?
I just explained, Omar.
I know, but it didn't make any sense. Like, oh, wait, okay.
So
No,
we do
I might be. Well, I'm kind of feeling this. I want to hear
Yeah.
more. Tell me more. Do you have a brochure?
Because
Would you
Origin,
sandwich the events in there so that way it doesn't start? Because the thing is, I don't want to start a Wolverine omnibus with instantly like event that are all kind of
Right.
disjointed. So would you
No,
sandwich
I'm
them?
kind of Team Oddfell with this fatty. I like that. That's a big book, man. But this Origin is tripping me out. Other than the spelling and the word being part of Origins, what is it? What is it that comes to play that, like you said, okay, we need to kick this off with Origin? I know it hasn't been collected in omnibus format, but there's no way they miss it. There's no way they don't.
it's been an oversized hardcover, but I think if it's going to be an omnibus, it would make the most sense to put it here narratively, because the whole reason that Origins exists comes from the fact that they had not too long prior done the Origin series. And I think it's a really great place to start that omnibus, the Wolverine Origins omnibus, to actually go back to the origin and have that miniseries be the first thing in the volume before you head into Dan Way's run on Wolverine Volume 3 with issues 33 through 40, and then go into the first chunk of the Origins ongoing series.
Okay, but then what do you do with the follow-up to that, the Kieran Gillen Origins too?
I put that
as well.
Yes, I put that in there as well because chronologically, story-wise, it does take place, between those stories and stuff. So it is a place that you can move it around, but I would put Origin 2 along with Origin 1. I think it would be a real miss to not include the Origin minis with the Origins ongoing series.
It might help sell those damn books too.
How dare you?
It's what's funny is like Peter is like the only person I've ever seen who absolutely loves, not even exaggerating, like loves, and then Omar hates it, and I'm just sitting here like it's super meh, guys. Like it exists. It's it is what it is.
It's so bad. It's so bad, guys.
Well, look, I'm ready to move on to that, but let me talk about my volume 1
Yeah.
and then let's move on to Origins. So I think my volume 1 is actually more similar to Riley's now that we're talking. So you have to think that when we're mapping for the Tiger Eyes poll, we're trying to map the things that most people out there like ask for or want. And so most people out there are like, I want Wolverine by Rucka. And it's like, okay, well, then the title will be like Wolverine by Rucka, Marvel Knights, something, right? But when we come on this show, we're not trying to appeal to the average voter necessarily. We're here to get it right? And so when Riley threw down the gauntlet, like, okay, Crisis, are you going to get it right? Or are you just going to bring the map that everybody wants? Riley, I think I might completely agree with you. I think that first one should be called Wolverine Marvel Knights. I think it should have all of the Rucka. Omar, I agree with you. It should have Wolverine Hulk, both of them. It should have Wolverine Captain America.
Yep.
It also should have Spider-Man and Wolverine 2003, 1 through 4, which is also a Marvel Knights series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I think there's 4 other miniseries that actually fit in there. Wolverine Netsuke or Netsuke. I don't know.
I forgot about that
one. Wolverine Exile, because that fits exactly into what's happening with Rucka, and it's kind of bloody and adult, so it fits the tone. Wolverine Snicked, which is very different, and
we don't want any manga in my omnis.
Well, I mean, we'll go to Riley to tiebreak on that one, and then also Wolverine Punisher 2004, because I think
that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's right on the line between fitting here or in the next book. But I actually really feel like the book that Oldfell's talking about that has all of the stuff, all the Wolverine event madness, I think that should start with Enemy of the State, because that is a friggin' blockbuster. I think whatever the next omnibus is should be bam, Enemy of the State, and then Civil War, all this stuff.
Oh yeah, then you'll have Enemy of the State.
I think this Marvel Knights book should be weird ass Wolverine stories.
Oh, this is weird. You throw in Logan and you got yourself a stew, baby. You throw Logan Mini in there.
I have the Logan Mini in mine. So on mine, I have Wolverine 1 through 32. So we're already starting out fat. And then I have all of the stuff that was labeled Marvel Knights, which is Wolverine Punisher Revelation, even though it's a few years earlier.
Oh, I thought about that. I was thinking about
I put
that.
it as a maybe. I put an asterisk by it.
That's a retro series, though, right? Like, even though it was written later, it took place in the past.
No, it's when Punisher's an angel.
Oh God!
What else, Riley?
So I have that one, Wolverine Hulk 1 through 4, Spider-Man Wolverine 1 through 4, Wolverine Punisher 1 through 4 from 2004. And then I put the 2 Wolverine Black Cat stories in there. The first one was Marvel Knights. The second one was not. It was several years later. And then Logan 1 through 3. So that, depending on if or not you have the Wolverine Punisher Revelation, that's 53 to 57 issues, which is fat as hell, but like not something outside of the realm of what they've been doing lately.
If there's
I forgot about Claws. That's the Linsner, right? Like his stuff.
I didn't forget, but I just don't have it in this book.
You said you had Logan in there too, right? Because you're thinking of a Marvel Knights Wolverine omnibus. I kind of like this weird ass Wolverine. I mean, obviously you put the name Rucka on there. That's going to carry a lot of weight. Derek Robertson.
It seems like something we all 4 of us agree on is this first book should be weird, tonally different Wolverine. Like even Oatfell's thesis statement is start when things get weirder, right? So we all agree.
If there's enough to pad out like this kind of dark era, this grim, darky kind of adult era without jumping into the events, I think we could absolutely save all the events for the second volume.
You mean, would you consider Enemy of the State a second, like an event then?
I would consider that the first of like a chain of like 4 events that happen like boom, 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 boom in that like 2003 to 4 era.
Yeah,
Peter, I know
I'm totally with you on that.
You've probably done the math. This would piss people less off. Like people would be less pissed off if we did it this way, leaving out Enemy of the State. Bam, but then you're talking about completely getting rid of Enemy, that Mark Millar omnibus. But then again, we've seen that, right? I'm sorry, I keep going back to the old ways of thinking, but we've seen that. We've seen so much double dipping happening whenever there's a creator centric. It's bound to happen soon. When I say soon, in the next 3 or 4 years, with Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 7, right?
Yeah,
that is going to double dip into the Roger Stern era. There's no denying that. So okay. And if you just love Mark Millar, you can get that omnibus. Okay, I'm kind of sold on the idea.
Like, oh, go ahead.
No, I'm kind of sold on the idea of what I suggested. Yeah, it's me.
So, Omar, why don't you go ahead and just share the slide number 2? That's Wolverine Volume 1 Marvel Knights, and see if I've captured what everybody's thinking about here.
Okay.
Because even though there's some differences, it's not that different.
Do we all agree though that the Millar omnibus needs to be just not a thing anymore?
Oh yeah, we're pilfering it because eventually there's going to be an Old Man Logan omnibus. Like we all know this, right? So like it's going to get violated either way.
Yeah.
And it's that one issue that's going to be missing. Okay, so let's see. Wolverine 1 through 19.
When does, if we stopped before Enemy of the State, it would only go up to Wolverine issue 19, I believe.
19.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, so we've got Wolverine. Peter and I are sharing the same thoughts. Oddfell, I love the fatty, man. That's a big book. I like that a lot. Okay, Peter and I agree with a lot of the same things. Riley just said, screw it. Let's go to issue 32. Wolverine Punisher Revelation. That hasn't been collected.
It's in a paperback, I think.
But I mean, don't you think that would be collected in the Wolverine Omnibus Volume 6?
It could be, but
I'm sorry, 7? No, 9.
I think that it's very likely to be in there, but I put it in there on my map. I have an asterisk by it because it is earlier. But my main focus was everything with the Marvel Knights label on it. So that's why I went.
So you're really thinking Wolverine Marvel Knights.
Right. It's a very literal collection for me. Except for the fact that the first like year was not Marvel Knights. But after that,
it wasn't called that, yeah. I kind of dig that too. I like the idea of Marvel Knights Wolverine. The only thing that I'm thinking we're missing from our particular mapping is during this time, it was Grant Morrison's X-Men. No, it was Joss Whedon's Astonishing, right? Because we're looking at 2003. Were there any Wolverine issues that should be added? Because Marvel's been doing that, right? Like they add an X-Men issue if it's very crucial to the Wolverine mapping. Was there anything from Astonishing? I just love the one where he's like, "Are you a beer?" Like I just want that page in that omnibus. It's so awesome.
I just feel like it's less critical to do that in the X-Men line where we kind of know other things are going to get collected comprehensively compared to other lines where it's like, well, who knows if that issue's ever going to get collected. So things that, I mean, he does have a lot of X-Men Unlimited issues, both in the 1993 series and in the 2004 series. So I did look at a lot of those, but I'm like, I just think eventually that's going to get collected in some other way and some companion. And I think kind of like harvesting out Wolverine stories here, which a lot of times are more like X-Men stories, is not super going to work. But certainly there is the argument to be made that you could put a bunch of Wolverine Unlimited or X-Men Unlimited Wolverine stories into this volume.
Oh, Phil, what was the X-Men Unlimited book that you had?
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't find a need to add any X-Men Unlimited until all the way in Civil War, but if we're cutting before that, we don't need it. But X-Men Unlimited 12 is very quintessential to Wolverine's plot in Civil War.
Okay.
Ooh, I missed that.
That's the new, that's volume 2 of X-Men Unlimited.
I believe so. I think. Yeah, when I was looking up Civil War, yeah, I think that's volume 2 by that point.
Yeah, because volume 1 was like in the 90s. That's a good one to throw in there for a future volume.
And then, real quick, can you remind me what were those other Civil War tie-any things you were saying should be in there?
Oh yeah, Black Panther 7 is for House of M, Captain America 10, and Pulse 10 for House of M, and then Civil War was X-Men Unlimited 12 and Giant Size Wolverine number 1. But I feel like if we start with the next event one, that would be better shelved for volume 2.
All right, so folks, actually, Omar, why don't you hit reload because I just did some updates on this to make clear a couple of those things.
Sure. Let me hit escape first. And then reload. That's what I'll do.
And then go back.
Slideshow.
Yeah, slideshow just doesn't update while you're there. We go.
There.
So even though we have some disagreements, I feel like we're close enough on this one, except Riley, you just can't be talked out of having enemies of the state in this first book.
I think that it works a lot better here because that gives us that clear cut with the first issue of Dan Way's material, which goes right into Origins. And it otherwise, that's why I asked again, like to clarify, like, are we just getting rid of the Millar Omnibus? Because if we
you don't have to trash it. You can keep it. But is it going to become obsolete? Absolutely.
That's what I mean. Like, are we making that book obsolete with our current mapping? And I think that if we're agreeing to make it obsolete, this is the best way to do it, is by having all the way through 32.
Damn it.
And starting the next book at 33.
That doesn't give us so much. That doesn't give us the room that I want for all of those Wolverine minis. Because we're adding a lot of minis in there. 22, 27, 30. Oh my God. 32, 30. We're looking at 37 issues, probably 35, 37 issues of the minis.
Well, here's the I don't disagree with you, Riley. The only thing that because I really like flip through them, just like like picked and chose issues to read. Rucka's run is so like not costumey, and Miller's run is like the epitome of costumey. And then Rucka's run is like, so let's ignore a lot of the Marvel universe, and then Miller's run is like, no, we're gonna bring in literally every Marvel universe character there is to fight Wolverine. And I think that's why I'm like resisting putting in one book. I don't think anybody's wrong. It just doesn't. It feels like such a tonal clash to me to have them in one book.
I think then have Mark Miller's Enemy of the State plus the one single issue, and have that in a volume 2 that does not continue into Dan Way's material, but instead is made up of primarily miniseries that do have that same very capey, costumey feel to it.
Okay, well, to answer that question, folks, let me say, what should we be talking about next year? Should we be talking about an Origins omnibus, or should we be talking about whatever omnibus immediately follows this?
Let's follow this, right? Because the next omnibus will introduce that character that will be a part of that Wolverine Origins, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Or
all right, so Riley, why don't you talk us through what would come immediately after this volume for you? And Omar, why don't you kill the slides, because we'll all take notes as we go.
For me, like from my original mapping coming up, starting with Dan Way.
Well, whatever would have Civil War in it.
Yeah, because you're ending at Enemy of the State with your omnibus mapping.
So my map ends at Enemy of the State. My next omnibus begins with stuff, and then it gets into issue 33, so House of M. Civil War doesn't come in until later in another
42.
book entirely. Yeah, so I have an entire just gobbledygook volume that has Mark Guggenheim's run as well as a bunch of other stuff. And that's not.
Well, let's talk Origins then, because it's
Okay.
Origins kind of next. So let's talk about it. So Riley, why don't you go first?
I want to
We
know.
already heard you want to put Origin 2002, 1 through 6, and you know that it starts at Wolverine 2003, number 33. So what else is in it?
So this can go one of two ways, and I have both of the maps, and it really depends on, do you want these books to be like Wolverine Origins, but also by Daniel Way, or do you want it to just be Wolverine Origins?
I completely agree. Speak on it.
So the reason why is because there are his 187 to 189 from Volume 2, as well as his Sabretooth miniseries, and a few other little things. I Heart Marvel, What If Wolverine #1, his story from issues 74 and 75, which of course are later on. And all of that stuff is not hugely important to Origins. So one of my maps has all of those. My other maps do not. I think I'd like to say the maps that don't have all of that, because to me, Origins, even though it is written by Dan Way, he's not the only star here. There's a lot of creators that go into this. So this is a 2-volume set, of course. The first volume having Origin 1 through 6 and Origin 2, 1 through 5, Wolverine Volume 3, issues 33 through 40, as well as 50 through 55, which is the Evolution arc by Jeff Loeb. And then Wolverine Origins 1 through 20, material from the director's cut and annual #1. The second volume then would collect the rest of Origins 21 through 50, and then all the tie-in issues, Original Sin #1, X-Men Legacy 217 to 218, Dark Wolverine 85 and 87, and then Wolverine Volume 1, 310 to 314, which is, again, Jeff Loeb kind of following up on stuff that was from Origins. The gauntlet has been thrown.
What is it, 310 through 314?
Yes, that's the Sabretooth Reborn story arc.
That is, you're putting that into 2 books?
Yes, that's 46 and 41 issues respectively, so that is definitely a 2-volume set.
And you're still stuck on the mindset of putting Origin in there, right? Both Origin 1 and 2?
I am personally, I think that it's the best place to put those things. I will say that there is a good chance that the currently numerical volumes of Wolverine are going to collect at least Origin Volume 1. And then with that, Origin Volume 2 would not be here. But I think that if we're looking at this from not just a standpoint of what's been mapped and what hasn't been mapped, or what's been in an omnibus and what hasn't been in an omnibus, then narratively, looking at it from a narrative perspective, it makes a lot of sense to put the Origin minis in here.
Oh, man.
Would you consider, since you included some Dark X-Men, putting Dark X-Men The Beginning in there? since you put Dark Wolverine, because I was considering putting at least issue 3 of Dark X-Men in the beginning, and if not 1 through 3.
I only put Dark Wolverine because it is a direct crossover with the series towards the end.
What about what happens in Dark X-Men number 3 that makes you want to put it in there?
It deals heavily with Logan and Dickon. It kind of is like the passing of the torch in that issue specifically. So I had it as like a maybe issue because I was going to largely leave out Dark Wolverine since it is mostly about Dickon and not Logan. But I had considered this one since it has both of them featured heavily in it. But I don't know if it would be weird just to put issue 3.
I think that I would in my mind, I don't even think I wrote it down, but Dickon gets his own omnibus with the Dark Wolverine series picking up from Wolverine Volume 3 as well as the subsequent series. And I would just have that in there. That's just me.
So I'll just say it to make it easy. Riley, I almost 100% agree with you.
Thank you.
The only thing I don't agree with is I didn't put Arjun's and the Jeff Loeb thing in here because I kind of thought they would be other places. I don't think it's a bad idea. I actually might like your map better, but otherwise I have every single issue that you have. Yeah. I had Arjun's, like the original Origins 2002 somewhere else, and I had the Loeb stuff in my kind of oddsy endsy book. But I don't think you're wrong. Your map might be better. So mine is virtually identical to yours.
I think it's actually pretty important to put those Loeb stories in there because they do like feed into
Romulus.
So again, narratively, it's material that you kind of want in this for someone to pick it up and have the entirety of that story in these 2 volumes. Those 2 stories are, well, the first one's essential and the second one just adds more to it.
But if I'm agreeing with you, could we at least get the story from I Love Marvel, My Mutant Heart in there? I'll agree to your map if I can have that.
I will give you that one, sure.
Okay. Well, then I'm on Team Riley for this one.
What
Omar?
the hell? That's all it. Yeah, you can add that to mine too.
I don't know. What's the rest of your map, Omar? Is yours better? My vote is for sale right now.
Oh my god! All right, we're gonna kick this crap off with, Wolverine Origins. I'm thinking 2 Omnis should do it, and I kind of want to leave it at that. Just Wolverine Origins 1 and 2, and you're gonna have to include the annual in there. So it's 50 issues, 1 annual. The original Sin crossover, which, as Riley stated, that's part of the X-Men Legacy. So 217 and 218, that will be in volume 2. I kind of want to leave Dark Wolverine alone for its own. That's enough for 1 omnibus. You added the Wolverine 310 to 314 in there in your volume 2.
It's kind of like a postscript to the story because it introduces Remus, which plays off of Romulus.
Okay. The only other thing I would say is maybe the page 1 or the page of House of M where he's sitting there going, I remember everything. You're going to need some kind of brief synopsis as to why he's remembering things, even though nothing happens.
So
and
you're
then
just saying start cold with Origins 1, like Wolverine Origins 2006 issue 1?
The first miniseries, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm asking Omar.
No, not the miniseries.
First issue in your book?
Wolverine Origins.
Okay, so you're just like straight up, no additives, Wolverine Origins.
Yeah.
Like not even origins and endings.
Shit. I'm pretty sure, man, we can do this in 1 volume if you just take out the fluff. You can make it just Wolverine Origins annual number 1. Because at first I was like, maybe there's enough for 2. But you have to keep the crossover, which doesn't add much to it. Add in, Wolverine 73 and 74, which is those Daniel Way issues, right? Yeah.
Second stories, yeah.
Yeah, add those in there.
Okay.
I don't think you need... Yeah, I'm okay with this. Annual number 1. You need like a handbook guide of the Marvel Universe page for who is Condoleezza Rice. Yes, I went there. Stupid ass story.
All right, so Omar has it in one book. Now let's hear Oddfeld's Origins centric volume or volumes.
I somehow missed Origins entirely because I was like, "What Wolverine books came out in this era?"
You did not miss much.
It didn't ping any of the Origins books, so I've got no notes pertaining to the Origins specific spin-offs. So as far as building that, other than maybe considering Dark X-Men the beginning issue 3, since you're like considering adding a couple of those, that's really all I've got pertaining to the origin stuff. Specifically.
All right, Omar, I think that means you could load up this slide and show what we have come to here.
This is crazy. All right, let me just put it here. Thank you for the super chat. Is it true that Romulus founded the city of Rome? According to Jeff Loeb and Daniel Way, I believe he did. Thank you for the super chat, Jack Berry. Window, and here we go. So this is what we have so far. Wow. Wait a second. Crisis agrees? That's it? That's what your note is? Crisis agrees. Wow. I love Marvel, my mutant heart. Okay. Whatever.
We're besties from this point on. It's just Peter and I.
Okay.
Well, look, I think, and also I wouldn't hate if we threw Logan in there as well, by the way.
The 3-issue mini?
Yeah, because it's kind of like takes us through time. I don't know. I have no strong opinions. But here's the thing. My map was almost the same, and I was just like waffling over if we really needed those Loeb issues in there. I was like, it's been a while since I've read them. I'm like paging through them, and I was just on the fence, but they do fit. Like, no, if you're going to do 2 volumes, it's kind of like, why not put them in? Because there's room to put them in. So once Riley said it, I'm like, honestly, do I really want to argue over the difference of 10 issues across 2 volumes? And I don't. And my map was otherwise the same. So
I also would like to point out that even within the Wolverine by Daniel Way complete collections, they included the Evolution arc by Loeb.
Yeah.
So I think
they included that Sabretooth miniseries, but I want a Sabretooth omnibus. So I'm like, get out of here. Leave her alone.
But my argument, I guess, being if Marvel is going to officially do Wolverine Origins Omnibus, I don't know, they might put Dan Way's name on the title, but I think that they would absolutely put at least the 50 through 55 in there of Evolution. I like that's going to be in there if it officially happens.
Yeah, I think you're right. Which is why I agree.
I hate all of you for making me think of this era because I hate this era.
Omar, I don't think you're wrong. Like, it's hard to sell 2 books of this. I think there's a strong argument to
are you kidding?
In 1 book.
I mean, all you gotta throw is DeKent's hot bod in the cover of volume 2, and you got yourself a seller there. Wolverine by Quesada cover in volume 1. And yeah, man, you're fine. It's Wolverine. It will sell. I don't think people realize what exactly this is because I don't think Daniel Way realized what this was. Honestly, I'm kind of sold on the 2 Omni now that I think about it because it's Wolverine. It's going to sell regardless. I just wanted a fatty. One and done.
I think that labeling
that's one of the greatest covers, though, with Wolverine and Emma. I think it's the cover to issue 6 by Quesada.
Yeah, I love
that cover's so
That's
beautiful.
my alternate cover. That's my DM variant.
I think putting Origin in there also would help to sell. Like if you bill it as a Wolverine Origin omnibus and it just follows the whole line of like everything that was kind of spun out of that, I think that could help sell it.
Since we're talking about awful books, when we see an original Sin omnibus, you get yourself the oversized hardcover and the companion, man. Glue them together.
I love that event. Why are we? What? I love that.
You got some takes today. You said you didn't even like Aaron.
That was one of those times that I liked him. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
I said what I said, John. I know what the people want. I'm kind of
sold. All right, solved. I mean, either it's 1 volume and it's Omar's map, or it's 2 volumes and it's Riley and my map.
Volume 2, Marvel won't leave any stone unturned. So I really think they would go with Riley's map. I don't know if I'm sold on the idea that they would put Origin 1 and 2 in there, though. I don't think that's gonna be a thing. So we would have to.
Then you shift like 10 issues of Origins into or something like that. Or
there's still big enough books.
Actually, you don't even really have to because the first volume I had at 46 issues plus Peter's story, and then the second one was 41. So you really like it's not going to be very unbalanced at all if you take both of those out. You move like one arc of Origins over. Maybe add the Wolverine 73 and 74 that you threw in there. We can add the other Dan Way stuff. I don't know. Whatever. We'll play around with it. But I personally, I think that Origin and Origin 2 being in there would be, to me, that's the reading experience that I would want.
Okay. When we usually do these shows, we do take votes between the four of us as to what we decide like the final book will be. So can we come back to this one, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's you want to go back to Wolverine?
Well, let's kill the slides and let's go back to Oldfell.
Do we want to
talk about? I want to talk about this odds and ends nonsense. Like, what's the next book for you? Yeah.
Because I'm like, you absolutely could start with oh my gosh, my brain is already blanking. Enemy of the State and go through I think it's issue 41 is right before it starts getting into what you guys put into the Origins one.
41 is that's the one I was talking about. That's the one by neither Daniel Way nor Greg Guggenheim.
Stuart Moore
did that one, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, because that's kind of a breaking point.
You could take it all. You could take it through Civil War. I would be cool with that.
Oh,
I think that
no,
would be
Civil War ends at
40. What is that? 48?
No, that one ends at 48. Sorry, my bad. Not 41. 48.
Put in 49. No Wolverine comic left behind.
Yeah.
That's the one by Rob Williams. So
yeah, take
I like that map.
The thing to note about the arc here is that Guggenheim's first arc, the Civil War Vendetta arc, narratively continues in his next arc from 57 to 61. Logan dies.
Oh, that's the one with Arthur Sudum on covers, right?
Or would you put that arc at the beginning of an Old Man Logan arc?
I kind of like that. I kind of like saving. I like saving that arc. We can put that with the Sabretooth arc. The wolf. Oh hell, it's right there. The Sabretooth thing. Nonsense. Wolverine Sabretooth. Like kicking off.
You could start with Logan dying and then put in Old Man Logan 66 through 72 in giant size Old Man Logan and probably have a thinner but Old Man Logan funny.
Well, I mean, you still have to collect all of Jason Aaron's stuff again, the whole Get Mystique storyline.
No, you don't. It's in the Jason Aaron Omnibus.
That's why
we're double dipping, baby. You said so yourself.
No.
What?
Back when you did
wait a damn minute. What do you mean we're not double dipping?
When you did the announcement video for the Jason Aaron Omnibus getting the reprint, I came into the chat and I said, I guess we could ignore this stuff. And then Peter was like, so everything from this to this year, except the stuff written by Jason Aaron. Because that, to me, that getting reprinted shows us exactly what Marvel's planning to do with that material. And I don't think they're going to double dip on it. And that arc is right before Old Man Logan. And Old Man Logan needs to go over with the...
So you're talking about capping it off, but if you cap it off, then you're going to be missing a couple of issues in there, right? Like, aren't you going to be missing the...
49 to 65 is like... I guess 50 to 65 is the weird gap between the end of Civil War and the beginning of Old Man Logan. You've got 15 issues in there.
Okay, wait, correct me if I'm wrong, because I hate this era, but isn't the end of this Wolverine Volume 3 where they split it off, right? Like they make it into Dark Wolverine, I think with 75 or maybe even 76.
75.
And then you have the other era that's launched by Aaron called Weapon X, right?
Yeah, Weapon X starts right after issue 74.
So we don't have to.
Damn it! No, I think. Damn it! You're right, Peter. Damn you, you beautiful bastard! I hate you.
So I think the point to end this, like, looking at volume 3 is issue 61. That's like the point where we stop, because 62, 3, 4, and 5 are Jason Aaron's run, and that's with Weapon X already. And then Mark Miller's Old Man Logan. I don't know if we even want to talk about it, but that goes in an Old Man Logan omnibus with all of the much later material by Lemire and Brisson and all that.
Yeah, I have that one marked out because I'm like, Old Man Logan has enough to be its own thing. So like, while it's here as like a timeline note, I'm like, it shouldn't be in a Wolverine omnibus.
Not in this line.
Mm-mm.
So assuming that this book did start with Enemy of the State, which I know we aren't all agreed on, but it sounds like whether or not this has Enemy of the State, we all agree this has as its core 41 through 61, right? Is that in all of our maps?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would start it with,
I agree.
What is it, 32? So it includes House of M. At least.
Oh, so Oldfell wants to put. Okay, I gotcha.
Now, do we want to do a situation where we have the Origins line, so those two omnibus, but if you don't want to collect Origins, you can have this book that has those same issues of the 33 to 40, as well as the Sabretooth story, the 50 through 56.
That's what Oldfell is selling us right
now.
But
with the
that
event
is Oldfell's plan.
Yeah, because there's an unlimited X-Men for Civil War, and then there's 3 alternate tie-ins for House of M that are collected when it tends to be collected in trades and the like event collections.
So there's going to be double dipping, but with purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not super mad at it.
I'm digging Oddfell's map, man. I'm digging this. I don't think I need to.
The only thing is, like, if you think of in a Civil War in a House of M, it might kind of make it obsolete. But if you just care about where Wolverine is during these events,
it's just that he's part of the events. And then Guggenheim said, "Look, he's like perfect cell. He can regenerate from a cell." God, I hate this era of Wolverine so much.
But it just makes a lot of sense, right? Because it's basically Oldfell saying, like, look, we know that if you're a completist, you have this in a bunch of different places. You bought the Miller omnibus, you're going to buy some Civil War omnibus that's going to happen, right? But this is like, or you just wanted all of Wolverine 2003, so here it is, Bob. Like that's what Oldfell's map is. And I don't think she's wrong.
Yeah, this chronicles things just like the current line of Omnis are, and that makes sense.
The only thing I had issues with in Oddfell's mapping is the tie-ins with like Black Panther. I know that features Sabretooth, which I think is why you added it in there. Captain America 10, and I don't know. I cannot remember how much of a part he played in Pulse 10, but I think Captain America 10 and Black Panther 7 aren't necessarily crucial to this omnibus. Just tie-ins, you know. Riley, Peter, do you all remember Pulse 7 or Pulse 10?
I looked at Pulse 6 and 9, which he's in a little bit, but I did not look at Pulse 10.
So Pulse 10, I read Black Panther. I didn't get around to reading Pulse 10 today, but it is collected in 2 of the different collections for House of M Wolverine that have come out pretty consistently. I don't know what's in it content-wise.
Oh, I hear you.
So I'm like, for Pulse 10, I'm not sure specifically, but it is pretty regularly mapped with it for the smaller collected editions.
I do like the idea of adding Giant Size in there. I think Giant Size Wolverine 1 is perfect.
I had a lot of, because I don't know how much y'all looked into it, but there are so many one-shots at this time and so many miniseries. And the way I initially broke this up, and I'm at this point I'm agreeing with Oldfell's idea of starting from Enemy of the State and then going all the way until 61. But like the way I originally had it was a bunch of those one shots thrown into this book alongside 41 through 49 and 57 through 61. So I don't know how much we want to pay attention to those one-shots and those miniseries is what I'm getting at.
Well, why don't you just list off which ones you're thinking about? Because I absolutely have them in a map, but they're just not in this book for me. So just sling them out there.
What minis or one-shots were you talking about?
So, I mean, God, there's a lot. Okay, so I already covered everything from the previous book. Did we already mention Hulk Wolverine 6 Hours and Exile? I know we did Exile.
That would be in volume 1, I think. I don't even know what Pulse is. Pulse is the follow-up to Alias, when Marvel said, "Hey, Jessica Jones is a popular character. Brian Michael Bendis, can you de-sexy her up and make her less Max and more suitable to a children audience?"
But Wolverine's not really in that House of M tie-in. I think it's there because it's kind of the on the ground what's happening with the New York Heroes House of M book, because I think like Pulse 10 kind of goes with Captain America 10, and then Black Panther kind of goes with Wolverine, so they got collected together.
That makes sense.
But it's like connected to Logan because it has to do with the Sapien resistance. So it's kind of like, if we have room, we should put it in. It's not connected. He's just not a star of it.
So I can run through all these real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, give it to us.
Because I swear I have them all listed, so this is not going to be hard for me. Go.
Did we mention Soul Taker already?
Soul Taker. I don't think we've talked
Wolverine
about
Soul
that
Taker?
one yet.
Yeah, so that's a 5-issue miniseries, and then there is most of these are going to be one shots. Giant Size Wolverine. I know we just mentioned Wolverine Firebreak, Wolverine Dangerous Games, Wolverine Killing Made Simple, Wolverine Chop Shop, Wolverine the Amazing Immortal Man and Other Bloody Tales, Wolverine Flies to a Spider, Astonishing Tales Wolverine Punisher 1 through 6, Wolverine Agents of Atlas 1 through 3, Rampaging Wolverine #1, Wolverine Revolver #1, which I think is the one with that really fantastic cover, Wolverine Anniversary #1, Wolverine Under the Boardwalk, Wolverine Switchback, Wolverine versus Thor 1 through 3, Wolverine The Best There Is series 1 through 12.
Oh, God.
Hold on, what was after Switchback?
Versus Thor 1 through
Okay.
4. And then Best There Is 1 through 12. Wendigo #1, Carnibral #1, Savage #1, Mr. X #1, The Dust Above #1.
You talking about Savage?
I'm sorry, the what?
No, just it was a one shot called Wolverine Savage #1.
Yeah. What was after Mr. X, Riley?
The Dust from Above #1.
Dust. I missed that one.
Wolverine #900, Wolverine #1000. Wolverine and Hercules Myths, Monsters, and Mutants 1 through 4.
God, I forgot about that series.
I forgot about that.
I got
Wolverine The Debt of Death #1. Wolverine and Jubilee 1 through 4. That was after the vampire stuff. And Marvel Universe versus Wolverine 1 through 4.
Wow, I missed that one. So here's my dispute with Riley here, and this is I don't know if we're gonna be able to come together on this one. I have all of that, but I have that.
Didn't that come later?
I have that all in another book. To me, because I started with Enemy of the State. To me, this book was basically like 21 through 61, annuals 1 and 2, and then any full mini series that like really fit into that time period. So I do have Soul Taker. And I actually put both of the claws in here, and I have Giant Size Wolverine. But I have another book with all of that other stuff that Riley just named. So I just don't. I just think that goes in another book because a lot of those one shots are like so disembodied. I almost feel like it's a Wolverine All the Rest or Wolverine Minibus, and I have it mapped for when we get there. But I don't know. I just put that.
I think that's definitely one that. This particular era, if we're looking at the time that this is happening, we are talking about Wolverine around the time from House of M. Again, I just want to make sure I'm on the right page with you all. We're talking about Enemy of the State era all the way until the beginning of the Jason era and Get Mystique, right?
Mm-hmm.
For
Yeah.
You don't want to collect Old Man Logan in here. You want to end it with Wolverine number 61, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So if we're looking at that particular era, we are looking at 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, any miniseries or one shots from 2008 or so could fit into this.
And that's how I have it, is from
like Firebreak.
What I just listed, from Wolverine Giant Size through Agent of Atlas 1 through 3, all of those I had in this book. But mind you, I also did not have the Dan Way and Jeff Loeb stuff in there. So I don't know if all of that together would fit, especially because a lot of those one-shots might be double size and stuff.
Could they legally include Wolverine manga by Tsutomu Nihei? Isn't that what the book that we... Right? Mm-hmm. Didn't they do a follow-up to that recently, Riley?
No, they reprinted.
They re-released it. They re-released it.
They reprint. Viz, in conjunction with Marvel, reprinted it, and I'm guessing they could release it if they wanted to, because it seems like Marvel has the control on that.
Well, we did put it in the first omnibus, or I did. I think Peter did too. I know he's focusing on writing these things up, and thank you so much for that, Peter, because I know it is a task. So you could put Firebreak. I agree with that. That's a series that that one shot was in 2008. The Amazing Immortal Man and Other Bloody Tales, that could also fit in there, because I think that's in 2008.
Dangerous Games, Killing Made Simple.
Peter put it.
Dangerous Games, Killing Made Simple, Chop Shop, Amazing Immortal Man, Flies to a Spider. Those are all 2008, as well as the Astonishing Tales and Agents of Atlas minis. So that's why I put all of those in there.
So the problem with that, the only problem I have with that, is because my head is like mapping this out, right?
Yeah.
In my head, if we are going to collect Wolverine, Enemy of the State, all the way to the end of, what is that again? I'm so sorry. Issue 60? 61, right?
Yeah.
Then all those little miniseries and one-shots will be at the end. And I don't know if I like that. I don't like when omnis are mapped that way, where they're putting all the like extra minis and stuff, because at one point you're just like, do I really need to read these? Whereas like if they're in the middle, you feel like you have to read it to get to the end of the sequential Wolverine ongoing series, and you're like, oh, okay. Oh, fuck, it's Wolverine and Nick Fury again, having adventures with Nick Fury's illegitimate son, but I got to go through this because I got to get to Wolverine 75. Whereas if we put all these at the very end, it would be like, well, I'm done with this volume. Next. But I do want to collect everything.
If you put it in with the Volume 4 stuff, though, would it tonally mesh? Because that's going to be post-Weapon X.
Well, we're still looking at 3, right? Volume 3, unless we're going to, or are we starting to talk about Peter's crazy other omnibus that he has a bunch of things for?
Well, I'm just saying, because like it wouldn't go in the Origins one, and that's kind of what seems to be in between this one and what would be Wolverine Volume 4. Not necessarily like our Volume 4, but like Wolverine the Comics Volume 4.
Oh, I'm sorry. Volume 4 when
it switches between 2 and 4 because of legacy numbers, but it's like when I was looking it up, it starts with like 900 is Volume 2, and then there's 1 through 20 that are Volume 4, and then it goes back to Volume 2. It's very messy.
Well, the numbering is a mess, but that's all still Jason Aaron. And if these guys are saying we're not going to collect Jason Aaron because he already has an omnibus, then we can skip a lot of the Volume 4 stuff. As a matter of fact, I think we can skip
most of it.
Did he write all of it?
I want to say he did, but I could be mistaken. It didn't go very long. It only went from like issues 300 to 317. Cullen Bunn did write some of it.
Yeah, that Dr. Rot arc by Cullen Bunn, that's not in the Aaron omnibuses, right?
No, it was
it's orphaned.
Cullen Bunn wrote 305 to 309 and then 314 to 317. That Loeb arc right between that. I think 309 might have been written by Ivan Brandon. I think it was a one shot. And that was all after Aaron, because Aaron did 1 through 20 and Volume 4, and then it relabeled to Wolverine Volume 2, number 300, and he wrote 300 through 304.
And that's
Yeah,
where the
because
omnibus
that-
stops, 304.
Yeah, the omnibus connects through 304.
This is
Oh,
where
so
Jeff
we need
Loeb
to deal
came
with
back
that.
with that Sabretooth story, right?
Yeah, and
Sabretooth
310.
Reborn, which we can add into that omnibus. Oh my gosh.
That would be
This
kind
is-
of slender though, because you could do like 305 to 317, Wolverine 1000, Manifest Destiny, a couple minis that he said.
They would make some great covers. Isn't Meltdown was in one of these stories, right?
Oh, the character. Yes.
Yeah, like
where?
Was it Bunn? I can't remember who wrote that. I want to say it was around this era. I remember that one standing out because I love when they bring out they bring back obscure characters. I'm like, oh, I know that guy. So do 5 other people. That's awesome.
My choice for the cover is to the one-shot Revolver.
You really like that art, don't you?
Oh,
Who's the artist?
God, who was it? My tongue is planted firmly in my cheek right now, by the way.
It's like a painted art style, right?
It is Das Pastoras.
Yeah, that cover's awful, Riley.
I know. That's
Yeah. What are you trolling me? That's an awful cover.
I think Das Pastoras did 2 Wolverine covers, both of them pretty equally bad. And then after that, I haven't seen a terrible Wolverine cover until that recent Cassidy.
Oh, I thought it was the Frank Miller that people were hating on. Yeah, the Cassidy covers. People were hating on that.
That one with Beast's face and then Wolverine, and it's just like it looks like a kid drew it with crayons for some reason.
You guys are so mean. Leave Cassidy alone.
What
do we got, Peter?
So Omar, what we haven't heard is your map. So what is your map that follows your volume 1?
Dude, I'm actually, for the most part, I'm Team Oddfell and a little bit of Team Riley, adding some of the stuff in. I really agree with the idea of collecting, of course, not leaving anything out, right? 20 through 61, annuals 1 and 2. And then putting in some of this one-shots that, my God, I'm looking at Riley's ridiculous omnibus.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm working to make it legible so that we can load it up. Hold on, I'm trying.
Peter, did you put everything in there from
everything you
all the way? You put everything all the way through Marvel Universes versus Wolverine?
I wrote down all of the things you said, Riley, because I care about your opinion.
I only had through in the book. I only put from Giant Size through Agents of Atlas or Agent of Atlas.
Oh, okay. So then everything else is in the other Oddsy Enzy book. I got it.
I was just listing for you everything. I was just listing all of the one shots and stuff.
I really like the idea of adding Killing Made Simple, the Dangerous Games, and Firebreaker in there if we can spread them out, and then the Amazing Immortal Man and other bloody tales. I like that. I don't think Black Panther, Captain America, and Pulse need to be added in there. Maybe Black Panther 7 just for the sake of having Sabretooth collected in the story. X-Men Unlimited 12, absolutely. Giant Size Wolverine, absolutely. So yeah, I'm kind of Team Oddfell here. I like this book without missing any issues, right?
One more second, and then you can load up the slides so everybody can see what we're talking about.
One of the things to consider about this book is that a lot of the issues of Wolverine itself were like single issue stories or like short arcs at that time. Like 41, 49, 57, I believe, are all single issues. And of course, we have the annuals and Giant Size in there. So like, even though I get what you're saying about like if stuff is all at the end, people are just going to skip it. Like this book is already made up of a lot of like kind of piecemealed things, like a lot of short stories.
All right, Omar, I think you can load the slide now.
Yes, boss. Hold on.
Took out all the crazy stuff from mine.
No, man, you know how I feel. I love crazy maps. I love big maps.
But chronologically, all of that stuff wouldn't
Those
go.
other brothers can't deny. When Omni walks in with it. Anyway.
Did you get it out already? Did you get it out?
It's got my cover on there too.
God, I hate that cover. It's awful. What is going on with Wolverine?
What is his mouth in this cover?
This is absolutely atrocious. I hate that you freaking loaded that in. All right. So
You gotta make it bigger, Omar.
I first of all, that you're fired. Step into my office. You're fired for even.
HR.
HR wants to talk to you. You don't have any taste, man. What the hell? That cover. No offense to the artist. I'm sure wonderful human being. But that's bad. That's bad.
Why don't you go full
After we
slideshow on that so
eviscerated-
everybody can see it, Omar,
Yeah,
and then we can
full
argue
size.
over the finer points here.
Okay.
Nice slide.
Let me see.
I believe in
Okay.
you.
There we go. So you want me to go slideshow?
Yeah, go slideshow,
Bam,
even though we
there
won't
we
be able
go.
to do edits.
Yeah.
So let's really look at what's
Oh
different here.
God.
Odefeld kind of convinced us all. I didn't edit mine to be Odefeld's because I haven't done the counting yet. But let's say we all agree with Odefeld for the moment, right? So that's a core of 42, 43, 44 issues. That's like Odefeld's core. This is Wolverine. You have to include them, right? So if we agree with her, then there's maybe another like 15 issues you could fit in, which my map could get merged into the Odefeld map and it would still fit as one book. However, Riley's book, I don't think could go the full Odefeld route. How many issues does he have? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Riley's
10,
crazy.
11.
That's
The
a
Punisher
lot
and
of
Little Shorts, they're not full-length issues. No,
Okay.
Riley's could work too.
'Cause
Riley's
mine
could
do-
work in addition to Odefeld's too.
Mind you, though, my original map did not include
21
the
to 32.
21 through 32. The
Yeah.
map that I have starts at issue 41, but I yield that I think that it wouldn't be bad to double dip in that case. To go all in. Honestly, I wouldn't think it'd be bad to just go all the way from beginning of Enemy of the State all the way through to 61.
So we're sold. All four of us agree then, right? Like we all think that's a good idea.
It wasn't my original idea, but I
Mine neither.
think thinking about it,
Listen,
makes sense.
guys, we're gonna have to cave, right? Like I don't want any Wolverine Origins omnibus, but I will cave and say, okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's give it to the people. Yeah, Riley, you need to cave a little bit here. You know that.
I did cave. What are you talking about?
All right, he caved.
I said it wasn't my original idea, but talking about it, I was like, this makes sense. It makes sense, and it's something that I think that Marvel would go that route.
So even though we all have like a few different things, we kind of agree that this is. See, so like Riley had claws in his volume 1. I have claws in my volume 2. So that explains that.
I noticed that.
No one else caught Fallen Sun Wolverine because you all hate America. That's fine.
No, we just hate bad stories, and those are all bad.
And then did Omar have Soul Taker in the previous volume?
I did not have Soul Taker.
So you all ignored Soul Taker as well.
Yeah, this is mine over here. Which
There's so many one shots. Like I was like trying to hunt for them, but like, oh my god, there's so many one shots for him.
It's
well,
crazy.
I guess let me
Like
pitch my weirdo one-shot book, which none of you map that way. I actually have 2 more books. So I have one book that's called Wolverine Other Bloody Tales.
Okay.
And to me, that would be all the one-shotty Wolverine that basically precedes and runs alongside the beginning of Aaron before Wolverine and the X-Men. So basically all the stuff Riley listed, there's a couple of other ones in there. Wolverine Manifest Destiny 1 through 4, Wolverine Sawdod. I don't know. I have a couple of Wolverine One Night Only.
Rampaging Wolverine.
Captain America versus Wolverine 1 through 2, Wolverine Development Hell. Basically, it's every single Wolverine 1, 2, or 3 shot between 2008 and the beginning of 2011. I have as an omnibus called Wolverine Other Bloody Tales. To me, it's like an anthology omnibus. It's kind of like a Deadpool minibus. It's got lots of fun stuff. It's like, and honestly, a lot of those stories are good. But it does violate my Crisis rule of like have something big that like leads it off, and it's missing. So I am a little sensitive about that, but I didn't know how you guys would all map those. But then I have yet another omnibus.
Oh my god,
which is the Wolverine by Jason Aaron Companion, which would have Wolverine 900, Wolverine 1000, Dark Wolverine 89, and Frankencastle 19 and 20, which is a Dark Wolverine story, but Wolverine's in it a lot. And I think if we're going to do a companion, you could put it in. Wolverine and Jubilee 2011, 1 through 4. All of Wolverine, the Best There Is, 2011, 1 through 12, which I love. Here itself, Wolverine 1 through 3, which has been abandoned in Omnibus. Wolverine and the X-Men Alpha and Omega 1 through 5, which has been abandoned in Omnibus. And then that Cullen Bunn end of stuff that we were just talking about, Wolverine 305 to 317. Because it's all stuff that happens at the same time as Aaron explicitly. It's like very in continuity, whereas a lot of those one-shots are kind of like, it's here, it's there, it's old, it's new, it's the future. Yeah. These stories are all stories that like definitely happened during Utopia. So that's why I have them all in one book. And then if we want to get really friggin' wild, I would then have a third book, which would be another Wolverine companion that would be the Marvel Now era that would have all of Savage Wolverine in it. But that was out of scope. We said we were going to stop at 2012.
We can
so that I rest my case.
Okay.
Sorry. So
No,
where
go
would
ahead,
you
Austin.
set stuff that's like the Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine, or like Road to Hell, that kind of are in that in-between area?
Well, they're
That would
both
be
in the Aaron map.
Aaron Omnibus.
Are they technically in the Aaron?
No, they're like literally in the Aaron.
Yeah, they're in the.
Since they weren't mainline, I wasn't sure if they would be, because I was like, I have them, but I don't know where they fell.
No, I'm gonna condense the hell out of Pete's ridiculous 2 Omnis. We're gonna make that sucker into 1. But really quick, Riley secretly hates Wolverine. That's why he chose that cover. Or maybe art is subjective, right? Art is subjective.
I just really, really wanted to see the cover on the slideshow. That is literally all I wanted to see on the screen.
That's why you called the meeting of Matt My Ex, so you can have that cover.
Secretly, this is all I wanted, was to make however many people are watching see that cover. Peter, I'm sorry, but did you mention having back to Japan?
Oh no, I totally missed it. That should be in that companion as well. Absolutely.
That's the digital one with did Jason Latour co-write, I think?
Yeah.
And then also Amazing X-Men, the first arc was by Jason Aaron.
That I would put into the Marvel Now era one.
And that's never been collected in omnibus format.
Because if we want to get crazy, we also are going to need to collect the Jason Latour Wolverine and the X-Men that comes after Wolverine and X-Men. And we're also going to need to collect Spider-Man and the X-Men. So to me, that's all in a Marvel Now book.
I think let's save that for another time, because I like the idea of ending this before Marvel Now. Here's a good question to fill out some of the books that we could potentially do with Wolverine 2, though. Which version of Logan Mini and Wolverine 50 to 54 do you guys use, the color or black and white versions? I say add both of them, especially if you're going to fatten them out.
Isn't the black and white version of Evolution just like the pencils?
I think it is, but the black and white version of the Eduardo Rizzo book, is inks and everything. It looks great.
That one, I think I would argue, both of them should be in there, like Logan and Logan black and white, but not the pencils one for Evolution. That doesn't really make sense, because it's not really a thing. It's just like. It's like how they re-released a lot of Batman art in those like Batman what do they call them? Those hardcovers that have a bunch of like Batman art that's stripped down to the pencils.
Noirs?
There's noirs with inks usually. Pencils is unwrapped.
Unwrapped.
That's it, yeah.
That would be like saying if you wanted to do Batman maps that you have to include the unwrapped versions in there as well, and that doesn't really make sense to me.
I like the black and white version of Logan. That's a good one to add in there. But I think that belongs in a volume 1. I think fattening volume 1 up, we could definitely match it up to this volume 2.
I put it in my volume 1, so yeah.
I'm curious what Peter has got cooking over here with his volume 3 that's going to be 1,500 pages when I get done, because we need to sell that sucker. I don't know if Wolverine doing hair is going to do it, and that Wolverine the best.
Yeah, it's obscure. If we could find a way to cannibalize it, to put some of it into the eventful book and some of it into an Aaron companion, I think that would be ideal. So maybe Riley's onto something here, where we like cram some of that 2008 stuff into a previous book. But I would love to see it all get collected. And there's a couple really good things in there. Like that Wolverine Herc miniseries is so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And there's some stuff we could omit. Do we need to put World War Hulk's Captain America versus Wolverine in here? No, it's going to be in a World War Hulk book. So there are a couple things that we could probably kill if we wanted to.
Well, let me know when you're ready with that slideshow. I'll stop showing this one.
Oh,
here.
Sweet Jesus. Okay, I think I have it.
Move on from the wonderful Das Pastores cover.
Yeah, please.
I'll find a different cover. Hold on.
We could just stare at Wolverine 6. It's
it's going to be from Wolverine the Best There Is, because I love me some Rip.
God! That story is so bad. I love you. I have so many.
Love it. I've been recommending it to people for weeks.
Who are you? Okay, most people that you recommend it to, what do they say? Man, Peter, you're right. Wolverine is.
You know what I tell them, and it wins with everyone. I say it's Wolverine starring in a Deadpool story. Like it's blood, it's guts. The villain's ridiculous, and while he's losing the entire time because he's fighting like a ridiculous Deadpool villain he doesn't know what to deal with, Emma and Cyclops are too busy having sex to help him, which is canonical. It's in the book, and every time I say that, people are I want to read that, and then they read it.
Is Wolverine Volume 6 getting announced anytime soon, Omar? I did hint that there are 2 Wolverine Omnis I haven't announced yet, but I also did not state if they're going to be reprints, and that's not including the reprint of Wolverine by Aaron 1. Or is it new? Or are both of them new?
They're Wolverine Origins 1 and 2 is what they are.
God damn
That's
it.
why Omar is so insistent on not putting Origin in there.
That's why, I've got insider information. Yeah, they're not putting Origin in there. Did I say that too? Okay, well that might have been the beer talking. I don't know what I said. Forget everything I said. This conversation did not happen.
The new one is actually the all-in-one Wolverine Origins omnibus that Omar was pitching. He was trying to save us all the time and effort.
Yes, just to prove my point and to spite you all, I'll give them my mapping. We don't need any of this nonsense. Pete, you ready, buddy?
I'm ready. As ready as it's going to get.
Holy crap. Look at this nonsense. All right, here we go. Woo! Look at this. My God. Okay, Logan 1 through 3. Let's oh my gosh. Jesus. So you literally put all of the miniseries.
And I missed one. Carnival. I missed Carnival, which Riley caught.
I like this though, because your Aaron companion is very similar to what I had as my Volume 4 companion. I just had some that had already been mapped into the Aaron Omnibus, but I really, really like that one.
All right, here's an idea. Why don't we omit Frankencastle, Dark Wolverine? That's not,
I don't.
That's not saving much
about that.
That's not.
It's going to be in a Dokken book anyway.
Yeah.
I really think we move over Wolverine 305 to 317 to this Wolverine Other Bloody Tales. I like that. I like 900.
No, why would you take it out of an Aaron companion? It is
because we don't need an Aaron companion is what I'm getting at.
Yes, we do. Where are you going to put all this other stuff?
But in this big ass.
Oh my God. All right, keep talking.
It's not going to fit in there though.
I'll make it fit.
There's so many in there.
Don't cram it in there. We don't need a Wolverine Aaron companion. No, Peter.
There's so much in the one-shot one, though. I don't know.
I know, but okay. Let's think about it logically, right? Let's move Logan 1 through 3 to my Wolverine Omnibus Volume 1. I'm sorry, mine and Oddfells and Riley's Volume 1, right? Marvel Knights stuff. Okay, Peter, I see the gears turning. I like that. I like that you're thinking. Move Firebreak to Volume 2. Dangerous Games can be moved to Volume 2. And I would say oh man. If we move Agents of Atlas 1 through 3, Dangerous Games, Killing Made Simple, and Manifest Destiny to Volume 2, that gives us enough wiggle room to add 900, 1,000. Oh God, Wolverine the best. Can we just forget that series ever happened? Definitely we need to add 305 to 317 though.
That's a lot, dude.
Yeah, but it can be done because look at most of these are one shots, right? I know they're oversized one shots. I get it.
That's what I was going to ask is if Peter had the page counts for all these things.
No, I didn't get that crazy.
Yeah, because I'm like, if that's the thing that's so hard to tell is like what the page count is. Because if they're not that thick, realistically, like that could be a fine amount. But if they're the like oversized or the double thicks, then it's like, ooh, suddenly I'm not so sure.
Do we want to make an assumption to just get a rough assessment of the page count? Like just assume the one shots are each like 45 pages or something?
Listen, if we're talking issues, if we're collecting everything from Astonishing Tales to Wolverine Depth of Death, that's about 32 issues. We can totally add 12 more issues of Wolverine 305 to 317 there.
Yeah, it's starting to make sense to me with the stuff that you moved into volume 2. I'm
If we
trying to
move-
like map
if-
it out.
If we move things into volume 1 and volume 2, and I get it, I don't like the best there is, but I would be offended if that's not collected somewhere. So I think that needs to be in here as well as Wolverine 305 to 317. Wolverine 900 and 1000, absolutely. Oh, man.
If you can shift
at
enough
least-
out, then yes. If you
Because that-
can shift enough over.
That leaves Wolverine and Jubilee, Fear Itself Wolverine, and the Wolverine and the X-Men Alpha and Omega 1 through 5, which has never been collected.
But if we're going to do like a Wolverine Marvel Now that has all the stuff that runs along Marvel Now Wolverine, the Alpha and Omega belongs there because it's a Wolverine and the X-Men era series.
What about
I could
what
take
about
that
Fear,
out.
What about Fear Itself?
That happens
Because Fear
before Marvel
itself-
Now.
Yeah, that's before Marvel Now, so that's has to stay.
But we could, you could make the argument that eventually we'll get a Fear Itself companion.
No.
But maybe we won't.
No. Because even if we do, there are people that just want Wolverine. What about Wolverine and Jubilee? That a Marvel Now thing?
That's a like Oldfell said, that's Vampire Era.
Yeah,
that happens in 2010. It's like right alongside Aaron's run.
It's right after Gishler's like Curse
Just
of
want to
Youth.
give a shout out to my wife for keeping me drinking. That's really sweet. She comes down here with a cold beer from time to time. That's love. That's love.
If Melanie, if she gets on camera, then this is going to turn into Chip Zdarsky's Batman. Map my heart.
Wait a second! Don't hijack this.
Let me tell you how good Zdarsky's
Let's
Batman
talk
is.
about it.
You know what? I don't think it's that good anymore because freaking Peter likes Wolverine the best there is. So he has no accounting for taste there. Just saying.
I'm taking out World War Hulk's Captain America versus Wolverine. I just don't care. It's going to be in a World War Hulk's book. It's not a Wolverine story.
I think because Wolverine and Jubilee is during Vamp Era, it should stay because putting it in Marvel Now would be confusing.
Map my bats. Okay, so if you move that out, look, I think start with what the hell did I say earlier? Astonishing Tales Wolverine Punisher digital comic. We can start it with that, and we still got about 32 issues. Move over 900, 1000, 305 to 317, the best there is. Fear Itself, and Wolverine and Jubilee. How many?
All right, reload and go to the next slide if you would be so kind. I think I've captured your thoughts.
That's impossible. You want me to go to the next slide?
Yeah.
You did something else? Omar's
I did.
Wolverine. Okay, I see what you did. Okay, let me share this really quick. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Don't forget to smash that like button. What the hell's the StreamYard bot? Why is it talking to me? Is it gone sentient? Ask me a question, I'll find the answer. Yeah, who has?
We don't need any AI in here. No.
I'm asking who has the better Wolverine map, Peter or me?
I think those
no.
900 and 1000 are like super oversized, by the way. Like they might have been like 100-page specials almost.
Yeah,
wow.
They're long.
I think at least 1000 is. I think that one's like a thick boy.
It do be thick.
But what I do love about that you've argued for this is right now this feels more like a book that like has stuff you could sell in it. Like it has a couple. You could say Wolverine by like Houston and Bunn, right? Because Charlie Houston wrote Wolverine the Best There Is 1 through 12, and Bunn wrote a lot of 305 through 317, and that's like, or you could say Houston, Bunn, and Loeb, right? And that would sell enough copies. Or if you wanted to make it a little shorter, you could pull out the Loeb stuff, because all of us agreed that it could go, except for Omar, that it could go into Origins, and that would make this 5 issues shorter. But this to me feels more sellable than my giant book that just had all one shots in it.
I am really happy with this because it is a big book, and it's a book I think would sell because first of all, it's Wolverine. Hell, we can even call it the best there is. People don't know.
I want that to be the title.
I think that would sell if it was the best there is.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to be disappointed as hell when they start reading this and find out about Contagion, but that's okay. That's what comics are.
I just feel like that's like when you think of Wolverine, that's like one of those catchline quotes that would move a book. Even if the actual title for that isn't favorable, that's one of those like, he's the best there is. Like, you know what I mean? What he does
I want to hear
very
Opal
nice.
do more Wolverine voice. Can you tell us more things in the Wolverine voice?
I just go smoke a cigar to get some gravel in my voice.
The best there is omnibus. I like it, man. You know what? I'll even let that cover fly when he's just fighting a bunch of rats, because that's a threat. Yeah, I'm digging this. What do you? I don't know. Oddfell, Riley, what do you all think about this? Is it too big?
I think if you do move the stuff out to volume 2 into Marvel Now, I think this could work. Do I think it's going to be oversized? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But where else is some of this going to go? And as long as it's not like insanely oversized, I think it'll still sell.
I think it might be insane because I just giving rough estimates of the page count. I'm at almost 1,400 pages, and I haven't even included either the best there is or Wolverine 305 to 317.
What? 18 times. I guess some of them are oversized though.
So 18 one shots. I'm just gave a rough estimate of like 45 pages each. And then
they're not all 45 pages.
Wait,
I don't know. Like no one looked at the page count. If anyone
I didn't come ready for this. I came here to drink and talk to my friends and bust on this era of Wolverine.
I think coincidentally enough, like the way that it's broken up, having like the first chunk above all the one shots, that probably fits into a book. And then I don't know. We just have to like pick and choose one shots because I don't think everything can fit. Like what's the biggest?
Riley's being the Debbie Downer of the Wolverine mapping.
Because it could very well be closing in on 1,800 pages at least, depending on how big
we will make it the first 1,800 page omnibus. And what better character to do it with than Wolverine?
Which I wouldn't mind. I would buy that day one.
Would you buy it for $200 though?
Yeah.
I guess my thing with the one shots is it's also speculative because none of us has anyone taken the time to some Wolverine fan in the chat has taken the time.
Is Brand? Where's my buddy Brand? Brand, are you there? I bet Brand.
Because some of the one shots are like very out of continuity. Some of them are like some of them is like they get a celebrity chef to write an issue. I think ultimately there's probably just a handful of these one shots that probably just don't make the cut to be in an omnibus at all, honestly, which hurts me from my completionist heart. But does anybody ever care to read those issues again? Heart, probably. And then also, I think because of that, I think it's kind of like that primary material at the top, and then as many of the one shots make sense. And if a couple of them get cut off, maybe you move a couple of the 2011 ones like into the Marvel Now book and just like use them as bonus material or something.
Assuming everything has to be collected.
Yeah. But I will say this. I think between the group of us, we truly have found every issue that says Wolverine in it from this period.
You definitely
This is impressive because it was hard. Like I kept stumbling on some, but like y'all have like 20 plus that you found.
No, man. You
you know what I missed though? Marvel Universe versus Wolverine. Is that in continuity though?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think.
It's kind of like that Punisher book too.
Yeah.
Some of these one shots are terrible. But
They
when
are,
I
some of them
said
are
I heard something omnibus, that is so true. Man, some of these, not even one shots, some of these issues are awful. I'll buy the hell out of it though, because I love me some Wolverine. That won't stop me. And I like the idea that the best there is. I like that, Peter. You sold me on that. Does that put an end to this era? Or did we talk about Wolverine origins? We did, right? We talked about Wolverine. We didn't talk about the Ken. Have you guys included the Charleston Jewish? Not for the lack of trying. We've tried. Dangerous Game story by Remender was really good. I read it in Uncanny X-Force Omni. Well, there was a time in 2000s where it was put out a story talent be damned. Pretty much. Do we have to talk about the Ken? That is Peter's favorite era of Wolverine. The Dark Wolverine. Riley, did you have a Dark Wolverine map?
Not like super detailed, but basically just the 2 series plus any relevant tie-ins shoved together.
What about you, Oddfell?
I could not find a whole lot of one-shots. I think that's everything.
So, did we talk about Dark Wolverine Omnibus?
So Dark Wolverine, I put Old Man Logan and Dark Wolverine as like an asterisk for just completely separate books, if I'm being real.
Yeah.
But like the one shots that I wouldn't immediately put into that were connected to both, I couldn't really find anything that I wouldn't just rather put in an Old Man Logan or a Dark Wolverine book.
Hey, for someone who wasn't collecting at the time and hasn't Googled it, who wrote the Romulus stuff? That was started by Jeff Loeb as a mystery. And then eventually that mystery grew into the Daniel Way Wolverine Origins book too. Because I don't want to spoil it. You don't see Romulus really in the Jeff Loeb and oh my gosh, who was the artist? Big Bianchi.
Yeah.
Bianchi story. You just hear of Romulus.
As someone, oh sorry, continue.
No, and then eventually you do see him appear in the Wolverine Origins comic, the character.
As someone who doesn't know a whole lot about that character, is that the one that like there's that whole plot arc that has Wolverine, Feral, Wolfsbane, all of them? Is that tied to the Romulus stuff? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got this. It's the Sabretooth, like the Return of Sabretooth arc.
Yeah.
He was the one with 5 claws coming out of his hands.
Badass. So badass.
The more claws coming out of your hands, the better you were.
Yeah.
Solid, man. That's so good. Jeff Loeb's like, hold my beer. I'm gonna make Wolverine even badasser. It's not even a word, but I'm just
gonna come back next year and have someone with 5 in their hands and their feet each.
Not the foot claws, no.
Foot claws are what makes X-23 so interesting. Yo, Romulus, you see Romulus for the first time in Origins 37 through 40. Thank you so much. Now all I think about when I hear Romulus is the upcoming Alien movie, as well you should. Peter, was there anything else we needed to talk about as far as mapping tonight? Did you want to do a Dark Wolverine? Because we can do that real quick.
I mean, that to me is another. I have to go and do a complete doc and read. I'm not ready to commit.
Oh, I can save you some time. It sucked.
I love him.
We can do like Uncanny and Marvel now as a grouping though, and research it for later.
All right. Well, I love this. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are back. So here's the thing.
The Daniel Way dumpster.
Wolverine, weird ass Wolverine era. I want to know what people think. So I'm gonna let the chat vote. Who's got the best mapping here? What do you got? You guys think that's fair? Like, you guys think that's fair? Who's got which Wolverine omnibus is? I don't know how the hell to even word that. Beer is talking now.
Which one would you buy?
Yes, thank you. Which Wolverine Omni would you buy? There we go. So I'm gonna let you all vote here. We got Omar, Oddfell. We got Peter. No, who's next? Crisis.
Think about the saucy Nightcrawler cover instead, if that sells it.
Oh, did I not put that on there? I had that on my slide originally, but then we stopped having slides. That's my vote.
Go and
Issues
vote,
next,
everybody.
Nightcrawler.
If you're watching this right now, you can vote. Unfortunately, if you're watching this later because you couldn't join us, I get it. Responsibilities. You can't vote. But people that are watching right now, which omnibus would you buy? Would you buy the mapping from Omar, Oddfell, Crisis, or why are there 0 votes for Omar so far? What's going on with that? What's happening here? None.
I would buy mine.
What the hell? I didn't even vote for mine. I think I voted for Crisis because I kind of like that mapping. I voted for Peter. That's good, man. Whichever one is on sale and have the biggest discount at IST. Hashtag Team Peter. I love that you immediately went right with hashtag Team Peter. Like we're fighting. Peter has the best hair and the best list. Damn, shots fired everywhere. Shots fired everywhere.
The show is we all had one where we kind of were more right. Like if people wind up choosing mine on this one, so I kind of like had this one. Origins, we all went with Riley. Volume 2, we kind of all went with Odfell's map because she was the smartest.
I like that, man.
And then Omar kind of put together the odds and ensy one by like being tough love with us. So we kind of each mapped one ultimately.
You know,
teamwork is the dream work.
Right?
Wow, you have worked for corporate America. I love that. No, seriously, I voted for Crisis on this one. That is exactly the book that I see being mapped. The only thing I would add in there is my Logan 1 through 3, just because to kind of give it that. Electra and Wolverine. We need to add that in there too, Peter.
Yeah, and Logan, because since you took Logan out of the later book, it's got to go in. Yeah, there's a cut. We'd have to make some tweaks here and there based on the conversation, but we have the general shape of it, I think.
I like that.
My first idea, and I didn't even mention it because it was like my first idea for just doing Wolverine by Greg Rucka before I realized Marvel probably wouldn't do just by Greg Rucka, was to just do 1 through 19 and Electra, Wolverine, the Redeemer. And that was it. But I didn't go with that, obviously.
But that's not in continuity. Not that like super matters, but I've argued it out in the comments of Crushing Crisis with people before, and it's just like a fairy tale story. But I think it would make like a good final story in that Rucka book.
Yeah.
Wolverine the End. You know, I kind of took Riley's approach with the origin. So I would do like I'm not, look, this is between us friends, right? I'm not going to put this out in the universe, but I can actually see Marvel Comics saying, oh, people like Wolverine Origin. Okay, why don't we do the beginning or first and last omnibus, right? Where that's the only place you're going to find Wolverine Origins 1 and 2. You're also going to find Wolverine the End in there. Weapon X reprinted in there. Things I can actually see them doing something like that. But again, that's between us. I don't want to give them ideas, and I don't want to put that out there because, holy crap, that's a huge double dip. A huge double dip, and I don't want that to happen. Got to have the Pat Lee issues in there. Voted for Riley. Pat Lee did was it Wolverine Punisher? Right? Isn't that what Pat Lee did?
I don't remember.
Omar, you were talking online. What you're saying isn't. Shut up.
It can be a secret if we say it is.
It's between me, you, and these bottles of beer I've been drinking, Ryan. Is that even enough for an Omni? Oh, they'll fatten it up. They'll add something in there that we forgot about, like something like Wolverine 25, like early adventures of Wolverine, things like that.
I mean, mine is pretty big as it is. What is that? 20 issues of the 1 through 4, 19 to 39, another 15 is 40, 56. That's a 58 issue omnibus. I would kick out Wolverine Dupe since it's already in Ecstatics to put in Logan.
No, dude, but not everybody that buys Ecstatics is gonna buy Wolverine. You know how we
but
are.
I'm just saying, like, we can't go to Marvel doesn't do 60. That's a DC thing. So like we can't if we want to fit in Electra Redeemer and we want to fit in Logan, we're gonna have to kick out like one thing from my map.
When was Redeemer published?
I am officially ending the poll in 1 more minute. So you got 1 minute to vote, everybody. So go and vote, please. in the
If
chat.
it was much earlier than 2000.
It is earlier, but the question is, will they collect that at the end of the 1988 omnibus or not? Same question as with Wolverine Punisher Revelation on your map. Like, because it's Knights, are they actually going to put a mature reader's label on the final Wolverine 1988 omnibus, whatever volume it is, 8, 9, and then include that kind of stuff there? Which was kind of Oldfeld's argument to begin with, which is like, that book gets weird at the end. We probably should start being weird here.
Yeah.
Any love for Ultimate Hulk versus Wolverine? I got every issue. Pretty sweet. Hulk rips Wolverine in half. That
Not in these books.
That comic was so interesting when it was coming out, because it was like, hey, Lost is going on writer's strike, so I don't have a job. So Damon Lindelof was like, hey, Marvel, I got this crazy idea about a Wolverine and a Hulk fight. And then they called him. They're like, hey, man, Lost is back on. You got your job back. Let's get back to writing Lost. So he took off. And I think it took a year before the next issue came out of the Ultimate Hulk versus Wolverine. This is why I'm not a fan of TV writers coming in and taking comic book writers' jobs and writing comics, because it's almost like they can have free reign to do whatever they want to. And I don't know. I mean, it still happens from time to time. Didn't like J.J. Abrams' kid write us that Spider-Man book that Peter loved so much?
No, don't put words in my. I like plenty of weird stuff, but it doesn't mean I like all weird stuff.
I love it. All right. Still got the single floppies. It was interesting, and it was interesting to see how Jeff Loeb added it to that Wolverine 50. Was it Origins 50? Riley, that's your era. Origins 50, right? They had a little bit of that Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness, like, and it had that Ultimate Wolverine thing where he's having like a dream. He wakes up from that daydream, and he's like, "Well, that was weird."
I remember picking up the Ultimate Wolverine, the mini, when they reprinted those 2 issues, because it was however many years they did, like the first 2, and then there was like several years past when it went on hiatus, and then he finally came back and did it. And that's when I picked it up.
Hey, you take that back. Okay. I wasn't talking about JMS. I'm talking about all these other
besmirch
guys.
him. He can get very smirched from over here.
I'm not smart. I actually like his stuff for the most part. Since past
Name three that you like.
JMS moments?
Yeah.
Rising Stars. I thought that was good. I thought that was good. Midnight Nation.
Okay, I don't know that one, so I'll have to give you a pass.
Oh, thanks, Peter. Where you at now? Map these.
You gotta watch. You gotta read that one. It's a good.
It's good, dude. It's so good.
Gary Frank art. It's great.
Oh yeah, man, dude. That first year of Spider-Man, I love that first year of Spidey, dude. That was good.
Some people do like his Spider-Man. I agree.
Some people, I love you, man. Some people. Dude, it's good. Like, up until a certain point. I don't talk about One More Day because, you know. Yeah. I like those. Those are good. See, I named 3 right off the bat. Name me 3 Daniel Way stories that are worth reading.
Well, I never said he had stories worth reading outside of Wolverine Origins. Nobody said I was a Daniel. Am I a Daniel Way fan? No.
Oh, you are now.
No, I just love that book.
Just on record now, I guess.
Oh no! Oh my gosh! I can't believe you love that book. But you know that is the beauty of comics. That sometimes, you know, it's all subjective. Like, I love things that other people don't like, and vice versa. And then there are things that nobody should like Wolverine Origins. AKA the Daniel Way dumpster. Dude, I love that. I didn't even write that. That was you.
That was Tiger Eyes editorializing in the chat, actually.
JMS Thor is solid. I liked it. Unfortunately, he kind of
but he's a quitter. He's a quitter.
He definitely walked away. His Superman.
I credit Kieran Gillen much. Isn't there some sport where the person who finishes the game gets the credit, not the one who starts the game? That sounds like a sports thing. I think I would credit Gillen with that win, not JMS.
Well, Bendis would get the credit because he did Siege.
Well, Bendis was one of the guys. Dude, what's funny is like they approached Neil Gaiman to write Thor. Like the idea was there. They were like, we want to bring Thor back and the gods slowly back. So they approached Neil Gaiman. He said no. I can't remember who said no. Mark Miller. And then they approached Bendis. No, they approached JMS and he said no. Then they went to Mark Miller. He said no. And then when they went to approach Bendis, JMS said, wait, I'll do it. Don't ask Bendis to do it. I'll do Thor. I thought that was a really interesting story. I like that. But this is our mapping for Wolverine Origins, aka the Daniel Wade dumpster. So I'm gonna let people vote for this one here. This is actually between
one versus two.
Team Omar versus Team Riley. One fat Omni or two fat Omnis. By the way, the poll ended with 56% of the votes going to Crisis.
Oh.
6% of the votes. 22% of the votes, Omar. 13% of the votes, Oddfell. I'm not going to bother saying the last part. That's just embarrassing. 9%.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. Even though calling it the Marvel Knights Omnibus made more sense for my volume than anyone else's, but you know.
They were like, how dare he add
most of the series in mine are Marvel Knights. The majority of the series in mine are Marvel.
All right, here we go. Now, I think this is where people are going to vote for Riley, though. Which Wolverine Origins book, which would you buy?
I mean, streamlined is attractive. It's attractive to have. I want it to be one book.
I better not call it Team Omar. I'm just going to call it single volume. Call it Team Omar. People are going to vote against me just to spite. All right, or 2 volumes. 2 volumes. Here we go. Everybody go and vote.
I did elect to leave out some Dan Way Wolverine material, so it's not a Dan Way omnibus. It is very much a Wolverine Origins complete narrative.
All right, so go and vote, everybody. Everybody, including Peter and Oddfell, even though Peter's Team Riley.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you voting for? Whose team are you on, Oddfell?
I voted for Riley.
You voted for Riley? You want to be invited back?
Let me just switch that.
I can't remember if you wanted to be invited back or not. But couldn't hear what you were saying.
You could have put Oddfells on the poll too, which is decided to skip
this volume. Damn it, missed opportunity.
You could have voted for me just to skip Origins. You know what I mean?
There is no I'll take Riley's, but take out. You take it all or you don't take it all.
Unless you plan on buying the book and then cutting those pages out, which would be kind of awkward.
Oh man, I can see people doing that. I've seen people threaten to cut out one more day and since pass from the omnibus. I've never seen pictures, and please don't send me pictures of omnis that have been cut up. That just breaks my heart. See, I like the 2 omnis because I can pretend the second one doesn't exist. I like this.
Them don't exist and just not buy them.
All right, man. People, I told you, you got this one, Riley. You got people riled up, man. This is a really good question right here. What is yours and the panel's favorite Wolverine moment, either from Logan to Ken or Laura? The best Wolverine moment. Oh my God, there's so many for me. So I'm gonna let my panelists, my guests, go first. What is the best Wolverine moment?
The issue of Amazing X-Men when Nightcrawler comes back and Logan like hugs him for the first time. I was like, I'm getting like goosebumps right now, but I cried so hard when I read that.
Man, I got so many. This is so hard. Oddfell, what about you? Laura or Decan or Logan?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't read a whole lot of like the Wolverine family tree. I do really like moments where Laura and Gabby get to go off and do their own thing. Any moment where it's like the two of them like having kind of like a sister dynamic causing chaos is great. And Daken in the entirety of the Leah Williams X Factor was just chef kiss perfect. So I don't have like a hyper specific moment, but those two eras very much so enjoy.
Okay. Peter, what about you? Best Wolverine, Logan, DeCan, or Laura?
I mean, I don't really think in panels because I just read so much stuff. I don't know how you do it. Like, you read as much or more than me. Panels don't stick in my mind, but I will say one that I have in my reactions folder on my computer is when they're like, we want Wolverine for the mission, and Wolverine's like, you got her, or like that's her, about Laura. It's like maybe Children of the Vault arc at the beginning of Hickman X-Men.
Oh,
that to me is the best Wolverine panel, because he's like, it's not, I'm just one guy. Like, Wolverine is whoever's out there doing the thing, and Laura's my daughter, and she's Wolverine. So that's my favorite Wolverine.
Okay. Oh man, God bless. There's so many good moments. Oh, this one's tough.
It's really tough.
I gotta go with one that really pulls at my heartstrings and kind of brings it home. So it's got to be Astonishing X-Men. When Peter comes back from the dead, and Wolverine's like, you got your strength back, and he's like, I am strong, and he's like, then I just got 2 words for you, bub. Oh my god, that I freaking bawled. Like, the next page is a double page spread of the fastball special, and there, like, nobody says fastball special, you just know. Oh my god, that's so good. I love comics.
I have to say, like, to back you up on Astonishing, it's such an iconic moment. Just him perched on the end of Emma and Scott's bed, being like, what stage of grieving is this? It's like seared into my mind, because it's just like him like a goblin on the end of the bed.
Issue 7 of Astonishing when what's Armor shows up and he's like, are you a beer? That was so good. Oh, I love that era. I love that. Favorite moment is when Astonishing X-Men, when he goes, you bite, I heal, I pop, you won't land. That was, there's so many good moments of Wolvie. My Turn is a classic, though. My Turn is a classic from 132. Like, when he pops the claws. Oh, it's so good. I mean, it's been homage too in covers and TV shows and in the movies, and then Laura did it in her series. So good. Yeah, the third. Every time he says popping the third claw is an amazing moment. I forgot to end the poll. Oh, the poll it wasn't that bad. Okay. Well, all right. I'm gonna end the poll, everybody. Thank you so much for voting. If you're watching later, I'm sorry you couldn't vote. But the end results are, here we go. 2 volumes at 60%. You do the math as to what the single volume got. So good job, Riley.
Let's go.
So this is not really a voting situation, because we all eventually agreed with Odfell. It was just how much other stuff do we need to put into it?
Yeah.
So, and I think because of the ones that we voted for so far, we do have to get both the Claws series into this, because originally Riley had it in his volume 1, but we didn't go with Riley's volume 1. So now this one has to have it, or else it's going to get abandoned.
Yeah, I like adding it to volume 2.
We all unanimously agreed on this cover too, right?
Yes.
No, we did not.
Well, it's not even in there anymore, I don't think.
No. I think this is now part of the next omnibus, which is Madness. And that is Wolverine's Odds and Ends, but I think we should rename it to Wolverine, what the hell did I call it? The Best There Is. That's it. Yes.
Where's Switchback? Is that also okay? Because Switchback is another really, really fantastic cover, by the way.
I don't trust you anymore.
Yeah, I'm scared.
It's the other Das Pastores cover.
Switchback? Okay. That's from 2009, right?
I believe
Switchback? Yeah, 2009. Yeah, nah, Riley. Not today.
Omar, why don't you go ahead and reload? I fixed a couple of little.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Odds and ends here.
Stop sharing really quick and reload. On the odds and ends, right? Like the 5th.
Just in general, I fixed a couple of things that we were talking about as we went around.
Okay. Let me share the slide again. And there we go. All right.
I was prepared for it to be the switchback cover. If I'm being honest.
Nobody wants that cover.
Not that quick.
Not that cover. Okay, so this is where you added 900, 1,000, Wolverine versus Thor, Wolverine and Jubilee, Wolverine the best there is, Sphere itself, 305 to 317, Clandestine and Fantastic Four Annual 33, Daredevil Annual 1, and Wolverine Annual 1, and then a bunch
he's not in all 3 of those annuals, so you could probably just excerpt stuff from the other 2. It's all by Alan Davis, and it's only ever been collected in a paperback. So, like, I don't know that you would want to squeeze all 3 of them into this, but they do all sequentially go together. So you might need some like excerpts from Fantastic Four Annual 33 and Daredevil Annual 1 to contextualize Wolverine Annual 1.
This is good. I'm happy with this. It'll be a big book, but I'm happy with this.
Yeah, I don't think all those one shots are gonna make it in there.
I mean, if I had to cut some out, definitely the Revolver and Switchback because of the artwork.
Just because he hates the cover so much.
Internal art, man. It's awful.
It is the same artist inside as well. So
yes. No, I'm happy with this one, dude. I'm happy with what we got today. That was good. I don't think we had to fight that much. This, I think, cost the most ruckus because we all came in with different ideas, and at the end, we decided on mine was the best. So, yeah.
I do not believe that is what the people's voice
indicated. Maybe I'm rewriting history. I can't remember what happened. Yeah, I thought it was my choice that got voted. Oh, no, it was Christ.
We have final consensus to share? Like what the exact...
Yeah, so for this one is definitely Crisis 1.
Hold on, I'll start building a here's what we actually decided slide.
And then do we want to start sharing covers, I guess?
Oh yeah, we do that too. What's your cover for Wolverine Volume 1? You like the Nightcrawler backside of
Yeah, absolutely, that's my vote.
That's the DM. That's for me, that's the DM.
That's absolutely my vote.
Completely agreed. Let's be clear.
Oh, what issue is that? I'll find it and add it.
Issue 6.
Wow, you answer really quick with that. The Nightcrawler. I remember the whole debate. They're like, is he naked? He's coming up on Logan. Let me see if I can paste it in here, Peter, without... Nope, I cannot. Are you changing things, Peter?
I certainly am.
Oh, okay. I've got the cover. So I'm gonna let you take charge. I'm gonna let you take charge of that. Off topic, but Omar, do you have the 2 volumes of Godzilla Complete Rulers of the Earth? If so, how did you like them? I've got the libraries, and I've got the James Stokoe in the Half Century War.
I've got every Godzilla comic. I think I read the first part of Rulers of Earth, and it was fine.
If they're going with the numbered Wolvie Omnis, volumes 10 and 11, then they'll shove every one shot they can. Otherwise, they may leave a bunch of these one shots out. That is true. They have been doing a hell of a job just shoving in these one shots, man. Like,
that's something I didn't.
They're not missing anything.
We're not.
Like, well, I mean, as far as like whenever they're mapping Wolverine, like 1 through 5. They are not missing anything.
Nice.
Like, it's crazy, dude. Everything is in there. Except for the Charleston Chew. Damn.
Which Jack Ferry is very upset about, and we have registered his disappointment.
Off topic, but I'm still on Peter not liking JMS Spider-Man. Well, then, Aaron... You know I'm going to invite you for the Evergreen of Spider-Man Omnis, so you can talk to Peter about that.
This is a very simple thing. 2 things. I don't like JR after like 1985. So like if it's got John Romita Jr. art, I'm a no.
Oh, you don't like his art inked by Scott Hanna? Oh, no. Peter. Oh.
And then everything looks like it's a square. And then I just think that Spider-Man should not have supernatural stuff. Like I don't like supernaturally Spider-Man stories. So like Jens Hall, the Spider Totem, Morlin, like I know that good things happened based on that in the long run, but my brain just won't do it. Like I just can't care. So that's why. It's very, very simple.
Wow. Okay. Well, thoughts were definitely spoken.
You can always trust me to come on here and tell the absolute truth about my feelings about comic books.
But I love that about you, man. Like I can't stand when people just agree with each other. That's the beauty of having you on the show, because you come in, you know, and with all the wrong takes, and but I respect you, man. So that's cool. I like that. Like a square. That's what I liked when Scott Hanna inked his stuff. Or Danny Mickey. I was okay with that. What will be the next Evergreen stream after the library one? I don't know yet. That will be sometime in July. I think we've talked a little bit about it. I think maybe Deadpool. I can't remember. I know Peter has built this amazing calendar, which is helping me out a ton.
Y'all, here's a question. What are we calling the Oldfell map one? What is the name of that?
Yeah, I'm not even sure what to...
No, I like the idea of volume 2. Oh, you mean like if volume 1 is called a Marvel? Well, you call volume 1 the weird ass Wolverine.
Well, I'm writing our official recommendation.
Oh, okay. The first one is, I guess, is Marvel Knights. And then we have Wolverine Origins. And then oh my gosh, it's an event one. So it's got House of M, Civil War, and let's call it Enemy of the State. That might be the biggest thing on there, right?
Yeah,
I don't like it, but I think, hold on. Let me think. House of M, Civil War. Can we have Humberto Ramos's cover where he is melted away and it's just the adamantium skeleton as the variant? I hate that cover so much because I hate the idea of him coming back from a single cell. That's awful. I don't know, Riley. What would you call it? If our first volume is Wolverine Marvel Knights, what would volume 2 be?
Wolverine. Mine was literally just Wolverine by Mark Guggenheim et al. Because I couldn't.
How about Wolverine? I remember everything. ... And by everything, I mean jack shit, because nothing happens in these books. That's my final answer.
Wolverine Origins Companion.
Wolverine Origins Companions. What about you, Oddfell? What would you call it? Like, what's the story that stands out to you?
It's so many events that I'm like trying to think if there's any clever way, but like I feel like Enemy of the State has the best ring to it, because if it says Civil War or House of M, people are gonna be like, nah, I'm gonna get that when I get the other stuff. So I'm trying to think like Enemy of the State or just a very general name like Wolverine Memories or something would probably.
We could call it Origins and Endings because it's selling on the Origins name.
But
right?
Is that going to confuse people who actually want, which could just be me, Daniel Way Origins? Like, because it's not that.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want. We want to confuse people. Look how many we've got. 2 Marvel Omnis called what is it? Avengers Heroes Reborn Omnibus. Absolutely, yeah, makes sense. Makes perfect sense. I think I like Origins and Endings, but that's just my vote. If you can find a better title, though, I'm all here for that.
No, it does kind of make sense, though, doesn't it?
What if you just put like another, like if the next one is the best there is, then another catchphrase or something.
Let's go, bub.
Yeah, the Wolverine Bub Omnibus.
The Bubnibus.
What I do is it nice Omnibus.
Whoa. If you put that on the spine, I don't know if I can control myself.
The Bubnibus.
The Bubnibus.
That's awesome, man. That's just people who don't know how to do research about Heroes Reborn. It can be so confusing. Well, I mean, look at X-Men Inferno, right? Like, we've got a new Inferno. It's like everything old is new, and eventually you run out of titles. So what do? You confuse people. I'm here for that. Have they retconned Wanda and Pietro back to being Magneto's kids yet? When will that happen?
I thought that was the point of Trials, and then they didn't.
Stay tuned for Matt.
Yeah, but they're treating him
Scarlet
like
Witch.
he's their father. In the most recent Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver miniseries, which is amazing and just wrapped up a couple weeks ago, the whole point is that they're kind of like, well, in as much as Wolverine is our father, that kind of like kicks off the whole thing. So even if he's not genetically their father, they're treating him as if he is their adopted father.
Good, because I like the family dynamic so much more.
So what if this book was after the best there is, and this one is called Wolverine's Not Very Nice Omnibus?
Like, you really have to know Wolverine to buy that omnibus, because most people are gonna be like, "What the hell does that even mean? Like, what is he? It's not very nice. What?" Wolverine Gumbo. Not really, but I was rewatching an old animated show with a few years back and noticed he said gumbo a lot. Don't believe he ever employs that word, though. He never uses it.
When he calls Gambit Cajun.
Cajun. That's right.
He says it like it's a slur or something. You're like, whoa, man, stop saying that.
Wolverine. I don't know if you're allowed to say Cajun.
You're from Canada, bub. You can't say that word.
It was the 90s, man. It was the 90s. Wolverine skipped this era. I kind of like that. The pre-adamantium surfboard years. Oh, man.
Oh,
The
man.
Cannonball Special Omnibus.
Why not call it Origins Finally Ended? Because this is like the start of Origins, so it's like Origins and Endings. I'm good with that name. So while Peter's typing, what other era do you all want to talk about to map next time? We always talk about not sticking to X-Men, but it's kind of like, somebody suggested doing the Amazing, what was it? The Amazing Spider map? Yeah, I think that's what they wanted to call it.
I suggested Map My Web.
Uh-huh.
That's what I called it, but whatever.
What about you, Oddfell? You still holding strong for your modern day Scarlet Witch mapping?
I have it written down somewhere. I still have it somewhere. I'd be down for whatever. My July is kind of a mess. So also, if it's one that I don't know that you guys want to do, I'm cool with that. Because I'm going to be gone. I have SDCC this year, so.
Wow. Wolverine leave the hot claws at home. Darkhawk Omnibus Volume 1. That's easy. That can be done in one omnibus, baby. That's one omnibus. I got that mapping.
Wolverine Revolver Omnibus.
You already got that stupid cover on there. Brand new day mapping would be a doozy. Oh, that would be fun, but aren't they?
Would it though? Because they kind of already did it in the complete collections. I feel like now so many things that 2 or 3 years ago we might have had a really hard map about have now been so defined by the complete collections and by the epics that now it's kind of like, well, it's probably just going to follow the trade paperback, right?
Oh, you want a challenge? Then the challenge would be one of those like character-centric books, like Oddfell suggested, like Scarlet Witch. Like a Magneto omnibus. A Magneto omnibus would be so fun to map. Or Apocalypse. Like, what do you start with? Do you really start with Rise of Apocalypse? Because that's kind of a retro series, right? Or do you start with his first appearance? Those would be fun to map and argue over. Yeah. Give the people what they really want. Yeah, for charity, we will do a map micro co-op volume 1 and 2. Are you out your damn mind, dude? Do you know how many episodes that would take?
The charity is us ordering ourselves pizza so we can pull an all-nighter. Because that's going to be like a 20-hour stream.
Another corporate America move right there, getting pizza for the employees.
Yeah. 750. Yeah, we'll have an ice cream party afterwards. 750 freaking issues. Wow.
That has to be like an in-person thing. We have to just come together on a panel and have beers after.
We just have slumber party outfits. We've got the sleep masks. Time to stay up for 48 hours. Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man.
Way back in the day, and gosh, this is now 20 years ago. How long I've been on the internet. There used to be this thing called Blogathon. Back when everybody had blogs, nobody had streaming video, and we would try to blog. And there was no Twitter. We would try to blog for 24 hours straight. And so you had to put up a blog post at least like every 30 minutes to prove you were like awake and still. And you would get sponsors for it, like you're in like a walkathon or something. And I used to do it every year, but everybody else just wrote. And because you've all met me at this point, I'm like, everything has to be over the top, over the top. I would record a new song every hour and like record it, mix it, and put it online every hour for 24
That's
hours.
so
And I
much
did that
work.
for 3 years, from 2001 to 2003.
That's insane, Peter.
Oh my
Well,
god.
I mean, you've met me. You all know me pretty well now.
That's impressive.
Does that not track with what you know about me?
It
No,
tracks,
that actually tracks.
but I'm impressed.
That tracks. Wow, dude, that's crazy. Ice cream party. What are the panel's favorite ice cream? Oh, dude, I'm bland as hell. I love vanilla. Riley, what do you like?
I like something with peanut butter cups in it. That's usually like a go-to mix-in. But
Well, okay, now for mixing things in, I'm a big fan of the Reese's peanut butter
Like
cups.
Boost tracks as a flavor, and it already has peanut butter cups.
yeah, like if you go to the grocery store and you buy one that has like peanut butter cups in it, I really like that. Or like Cherry Garcia from Ben and Jerry's.
All right, Oddfell, what about you?
I'm like
Had
a
a bad day.
raspberry chip fan, but if
Okay.
not, I am a really big fan of like either strawberry chip or mint chip. Those are like my three. But raspberry is my favorite.
As long as it has a chip in it.
Yeah, like raspberry chocolate chip is the best.
What about you, Peter? What kind of ice cream are
Well,
you?
I live here in the ice cream desert in New Zealand. I'll share a funny anecdote as I'm putting together the final bit of the slide. The ice cream flavors here are so boring, and the ice cream is not very good. They think it's good, and I get in trouble with Kiwis a lot, but it's not. So the other week I was in the grocery store, and this woman and her son were like staring into the ice cream freezer, just like as if it was the abyss. And so they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, are we in your way?" And I said, no, it's okay, I'm just looking to it. And they said, "Oh, we're from South Africa, we just moved here, and none of the ice cream here tastes right to us, and we never know what to buy." And I was like, oh, me too, I'm from the United States. And so I told them like what the good brands were and what to ignore. I love a peanut butter ice cream, much like Riley. So there's like one brand here out of all of the ice creams in New Zealand that does a peanut butter cup ice cream. Whereas in the States, like everybody has some kind of Moose Tracks peanut butter something. So I love a peanut butter ice cream. I love like an Oreo ice cream, like a cookies and cream ice cream. That's pretty high on my list. And then I do like something really caramely, like a salted caramel or like a caramel swirl ice cream. Yeah.
Okay.
But the ice cream's here. And then I love like the special batch, like Turkey Hill for my Pennsylvania friends out there. When Turkey Hill does like pumpkin pie ice cream or like one of their like crazy or like strawberry cheesecake chunks or one of those like lemon meringue. I'm there. I'm there on the day in the Wawa buying the Turkey Hill. Like
Wawas. Man, we don't got Wawas down here. I think we're supposed to get our first one.
I believe the slides are ready. If you go to the first two, I did my best.
Peter, you are.
I'm tapped out, and I got to go start fighting some dragons in D&D any minute here.
I got to go and do an AMA. I forgot about that until Melody just texted me, and she's like, "All right, everybody, here we go. Matt, my Wolverine Volume 1, Marvel Knights."
Oh, I put that Arjun one on the wrong slide. Sorry, that should be on the next slide.
Okay.
You're good. Origins and endings right there. With the three covers, you are a madman. 3 covers each, huh?
I
was listening to the things that you liked, and I was trying to scroll through all the covers as quickly as I could.
That cover's so good too. The one from I like those. Those are good choices. Is Nightcrawler naked or not, Riley?
Yes.
Absolutely. That's why he's looking, and that's why Assad Ribic said he is.
Yeah.
He said he's naked, and then he also said that the bottle is supposed to be his little Wolverine.
It's little
bub.
Wolverine.
Yeah, his little bub.
Little bub. What the hell? All right. And then Wolverine Origins, hells yes, with those covers right there coming in strong, man. I like that.
I would, as a DM, I would say to have a couple of covers with Dakin.
Yeah, that would be like.
Well, I mean, we're looking at just Wolverine Origins 1 right here, right?
Yeah, because I put the
Michael Turner
other one
cover
on the wrong slide.
Michael Turner for Volume 1, I think would be a good
Okay.
cover. People really like Turner, and it was a good cover. I liked it. But I would totally be all over that Wolverine and Emma cover. I think that Quesada killed it.
It's so good.
And Wolverine, the best there is, only has one choice for a cover. Because there's just too many covers.
Well, I mean, I could have put Wolverine Revolver, but I didn't want to trigger Omar again with the art from Wolverine.
I've already been triggered enough by mapping all these books.
We mapped 5 whole omnibuses on one. This might be our record. Have we ever done this many on one stream before?
No, we did a damn good job. I am really proud of our work. And this is an era that I'm not the biggest. I'm not a fan of this era. So it was a lot of fun to do this. I like eras that I'm not like passionate about, because I can go either way when like we get to argue, and I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever, that makes sense. I still don't think Origin 1 and 2 need to be in there by any means, but
well, that's why there's question marks.
I will fight that tooth and nail. So these are our final maps. If you're now joining, there you go. And then would you buy these books if you're watching this later? And I want to thank our chat. Thank you all so much for chiming in and voting yourselves for what books is better, like what mapping is better. Thank you all for that. And before we leave, I do want to thank my wonderful panel here that I've missed so much talking about these kinds of things with. So, Peter, you've outdone yourself. I don't know how you're going to go for another few hours being a dungeon master or whatever the fuck you all do.
No, I'm not DMing. I can't even imagine going from this to DMing. All I have to do is fight.
But I do want to stress again how much I've missed you all. So this was a lot of fun, and I know a lot of people have been looking forward to seeing this again. So let's keep on doing it. I got a trip coming up, so I'm glad we did it before my trip. So I'll be happy and look forward to something like this again when I get back. And I will let you all decide on what we should map. I like the character-centric books myself. I think it'd be fun to map a Magneto book. We could finish out Oddfell's Scarlet Witch, which would be fun. We could do the Spider-Man era that needs to be mapped so badly. Yeah, it would be a lot of fun.
In DC. I mean, we all have done a lot of DC.
Oh, we've already done so much of that.
What if we map the character that we think will never get an omnibus?
Slapstick. Maggot. Oh, yeah, there's so many.
That would be challenging to be like, is there enough for this character? Can we make an omnibus?
Oh, Oddfell coming in strong. We could let people.
This is Oddfell secretly saying, "Let's do a map by magic." That's what that's in code. He's actually saying.
Get out of my brain.
You know, we could do that. We could do. I love that we put like. I remember when we were mapping New Mutants a couple of years ago. Like Oddfell just made it a magic-centric omnibus, and I'm like, we all see what you're doing.
If it was about magic, and if it had a magic cover, then it would have these.
What if it was a magic book?
And she's like, she even added all the magic covers, and I'm like, we know what you're doing.
She sells.
She does. She does. Where can people find you all when you're not hanging out with me as we wrap up? Riley, where can people find you, buddy?
The Omnibus Collector on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter is Omni Collector, Omnibus Collector on Instagram and Twitch. I'm on a little bit of a sabbatical because we just recently moved, and I still haven't set up all of the library just yet. But I did have time to set up my lovely background of statues and figures and Yu-Gi-Oh monsters.
Oh man,
so,
nerd.
Yeah,
I love it. Oddfell, what about you?
Yes,
What are you
so
doing?
I'm Oddfell across most social media. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I do a lot of cosplay related content. TikTok as well. YouTube, I do a lot of toy and statue unboxings, and my next con is SDCC, and I do have a panel, so if you want to hear me talk about collecting Marvel Legends statues, that kind of stuff, I do have a panel Saturday at SDCC. So if you're there, stop by, say hi, it'll be a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Love it. And last but not least, I am the Uncanny Omar. Thank you so much. I'm just kidding. Peter.
Well, I just have to say thank you so much to Riley for reassembling the X-Men here. I loved he threw down the gauntlet and told me to map better, do better Marvel Crisis. So I am crushingcrisis.com, crisis with a K, crushing with a C, where I talk about Marvel's new releases and DC's new releases every week. And I have mappings for a huge amount of books because we mapped everything that was on the Tiger Eyes poll this year, over 1,000 books in total between Marvel and DC. And of course, guides to just about all of the Marvel universe, as well as a good deal of the DC universe. And I'm on Twitter at Crushing Comics, both spelled the way rational people would spell those words, Crushing Comics. Talking about comics every single day. And I will be back on this very channel on Sunday afternoon to talk about Evergreen Library books.
Yes, which is a very important stream. So come back for that, everybody. Thank you again to my wonderful co-hosts and my panelists. I hope everybody has a good night. I gotta go get another beer to do an AMA, but everybody have a wonderful evening. Thank you for watching and smash that like button. Do all that good stuff. Good.